Welcome to the Bobby Couto Show, where we dive into the fascinating world of human experiences and excellence. With special guests, real-life anecdotes, and thought-provoking discussions. Get ready to unlock and tap into your absolute potential with your host, manifestation coach, Bobby Couto.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bobby Couto Show. I am your host, Bobby Couto, and today, my very special guest, Talos Farris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate you having me on, man.
My pleasure, brother. It's so great to have you here. You know, in the great words of my mama, she always used to say to me, Bobby, good things come to those who wait. And I know we've talked about this for a minute. You know, we've been in, situation, and it's like, finally, you're here, and I'm so grateful for that. You know, we've had the opportunity to chat a little bit before the show, and it's funny because I want to intro the show, and I'm typically come in and like I'm all like this crazy high energy, and I just want to keep the cadence because, you know, your tone is so great, and I just know that people are really going to enjoy this opportunity to hear about you, hear about your journey. You know, you've been through so much, sir, like coming from, you know, Atlanta, Georgia, you know, landing here, like Newport, Rhode Island, landing here in Fall River and deciding that you want to, this is where you want to be. And not just you, but your life, you know, your life partner as well. You know, she's on the school committee. That's and, you know, shout out Chanel. Like, we really appreciate her and all her effort that she's doing. Yeah. So you are a family committed to the growth of this city, brother. And I am so humbled that you would take the time to come in today. Thank you.
I'm the one that's humbled, man. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I mean, obviously, this is like hitting the ground running. I know for you, you're a quiet guy. You know what I mean? I say this all the time. Those who do the most always say the least. You know, and the show is really built on one fundamental reason, and that fundamental reason is that struggle to success, right? We all end up here. We all end up in this place where we find that, hey, wait, this is where I belong. This is where I serve my purpose. This is where I want to serve my community. And you've had the journey. You've been through it all. You served the military, man. You couple of combat deployments, man. And we could talk about all those things. But, you know, most importantly to me, what I found in, you know, doing the research is that, you know, the people that care about us the most are the ones that call you Doc, right? They know the real Talos. They were there with you. Right. And it's the true expression of the man and the hero, the person who gives up. Listen, it's the ultimate sacrifice, Talos. You know, there's a good chance you might not be here, my friend, but here you are, and you've taken all that with you. You've sat down and you said to yourself, you know what? Not only have I done this, but I'm not done yet, and I want to serve my city. I see that this is not. We need change. We need change.
Agreed.
It's so obvious. 13 years of the same. You know, these are the results. You know, and I find it. We've probably waited too long, Talos. I think we've gotten here and now we're like, oh my God, I can't even drive down the street. And so here we are. It's bad enough. You're like, hey, listen, it's time for change. What motivated you, Talos, to be here? What motivated you to decide like?
Wow. The motivation stems from a bunch of different things. Like you mentioned, you know, I served active duty in the military for 15 years, the combat tours to Iraq, and it's just a culmination of a bunch of different things. I think my struggle with homelessness, my struggle with trying to find my place back in society after military service, all of those things kind of led to me being where I am with my feet right now. Just to kind of go backwards a little bit, my dad was my hero, okay? I'm not one of those guys that grew up idolizing rappers and sports figures and things like that. I was estranged from my father for a good while growing up, and when things were at their worst and me and my dad were separated, there was a point when I was around 11 or so where I was left on my own, okay? And I think that experience really shaped who I eventually became. Once my dad actually
you grow a sense of dependency, right? Like you got to take care of yourself, right?
Well, you better believe it.
Right.
You better believe it. So 11, the family set up the way it was. Things kind of hit rock bottom for us. And so it was like a bad decision or a worse decision. And at 11, I kind of told my mom, yeah, I'm not going with you. I'm not going where you're going, because growing up in the projects in Atlanta, you see a lot. Atlanta's a massive city, and I grew up in the city of Atlanta in the projects. And, you know, you see poor people going through poor people things, right? There's drugs, there's alcoholism, gangs and prostitution. You see it all. And you see that stuff at an early age, right? So, if you're from a place like New York or Atlanta or Detroit, LA, those are the kind of things you see when you grow up in a large city like that. Even Boston, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that time I spent alone trying to figure it out for a good while, I think I got into some kind of fight or something, because that's who I was. I moved a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
And when you were in a big city and you move a lot, every school that you go to, it's like you got to reprove that you're worthy to be there in that neighborhood, in that town, even though you're in the same city, right? So, I went through that, and while I was on my own, I got into a really, really crazy fight, and that's when I think the school reached out and finally got a hold of my dad and was like,
and you're
hey.
just 11, 12 years old?
Yeah. So by the time the fight thing happened that made them reach out to him, it had been almost a year on my own. And I'm doing whatever I need to do to make it. I had already seen all the wrong things in life at an early age.
Sure.
So I know who to talk to, how to get what I need. So, at that point, it wasn't a struggle of being outside per se. But I definitely was living too much of an adult's life at a young age.
Sure. But that's what you were exposed to. That's
very true.
Right.
Very true. That's what I was exposed to.
Right.
So, and I'm not knocking my mom. I love her dearly.
Yeah.
Strong woman. She did what she could do.
The fish in the water will learn to swim,
I mean?
brother. Like that's.
But we all, it's an age-old story, man.
Sure.
Especially for people that grow up and come from lesser means.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes your parents go through things.
Yeah.
Right. And we either sink or we swim.
Right. And it was different then because it was industry, right? It was the textile industry. Our parents were working in factories, and there was no leeway. There was no feelings there. I remember my mom telling me, listen, if the nurse has to call me, make sure you're really sick, Bobby, because they can't.
Yes, because if I got to leave work,
right?
It's time off of work.
Yes.
Time I'm not going to get paid for.
Yes.
There's less money in my pocket when that paycheck comes, which makes it harder for me to pay the bills and harder for me to get food on the table.
Absolutely.
Right? So if mom is getting called to the school, it better be for something real.
100%.
Right. But so anyway, my dad, he got a hold of the information that I was alone, and he rectified that right away. Rectified it right away. So I moved in with him at about 12 and a half.
You're still in Georgia?
Still in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I got enveloped in love, man. Like, he tried to show me all of the right things. He was a police officer there in the city. He had got hurt on the job, right? He was trying to apprehend somebody, got hit in the head with a metal pipe. So I had to watch my dad relearn how to walk, talk, write, read, everything. I had to learn how to be a person again, right, from that injury. So, I learned a lot watching him go through that struggle. But yeah, he pulled me in, and, he steered me away from the gang activity that I was getting too close to flirting with.
Yeah.
He said, the only gang you need is in this house. It's the only gang you need. Right. And so he taught me at a very early age about independence and how to operate a certain type of way growing up to be a young man, an actual young man, not anything other than that.
Right.
And, as kids, we don't always listen. We don't always take on the things that we're being told. But as time
because we know everything, right? We know everything, right?
Right. But as time pushes on, you understand more and more of where your parents are coming from. And so thank God that the situation went the way it did. He was able to watch me graduate from high school. And I knew at an early age, like, I think I signed up for the military and got in the delayed entry program in my 11th grade year. So I was 17 and I had already signed up and enlisted.
So was it the Navy or the Marines?
It's the Navy.
Okay, all right.
So
because I know that some people get that confused.
They do. It's one of those things. I try to make sure I'm very, very clear about it.
Yeah.
So the Marine Corps is an amphibious assault group for the Navy, right? But they're their own service. But they are a part of the Department of the Navy, right? If you look on their paychecks, it says Department of the Navy.
Yeah.
No BS.
Sure.
We give each other a hard time about it.
Yeah.
But the hospital corpsman, man, it has a long history with the Marine Corps, dates back for ages, because the Marine Corps doesn't have dedicated medical personnel. So what happens is you go to hospital corpsman school and you learn as much emergency medicine and a wide swath of things in dealing with medicine as you possibly can, because you can be stationed anywhere from a small clinic to a large naval hospital to a Marine Corps unit or special forces.
So two things there.
Yeah.
One, medical, and two, the Navy. Why those two?
Majority of the folks in my family that served in the Army. So my dad served in the Army. So did my stepmom. So did my grandfather. So did my uncle. My uncle is a Vietnam vet. Actually, he's no longer with us, but my uncle served in Vietnam, lost an eye there.
Thank you for your service.
So I appreciate that. These are the folks I had in front of me. And the only person in my family that had served in another service other than the Army was a cousin of mine from Illinois. And so, I talked to her and I said, hey, cuz how was
this is
the Navy?
amazing. What an amazing conversation this is. Do you realize what you're saying right now?
No,
Like,
I don't.
This
I'm
is your
just telling
tribe.
you.
This is your family. And you're talking about everybody in your family has served in the military in one
Yeah.
shape or another. And you're determining, hey, which one can I go to that nobody else served in so I can be the one?
I'm trying to figure out like what I think is going to be best for
It's
me.
amazing. Taylor, that's an amazing conversation. Like, I have
appreciate
goosebumps right now, brother. But go ahead. Seriously, man. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
So I talked to my cousin about her time in the Navy, and she was an officer in the Navy. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to give that a try. But first, I got to see what they have to offer me, right? And so I'm not just going to blindly sign up for something and I know what my path is going to be. So I took it upon myself to seek out the recruiter. I didn't let them seek me out. I seeked them out. Yeah. And at the time, I was in Air Force ROTC in high school because that was helping me stay on the straight and narrow. I fought a lot growing up. A lot, because like I told you, I moved a lot.
Sure.
And so when you move a lot, like I said earlier, sometimes you got to prove yourself over and over again until people get the point.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so
you also realize what you're willing to tolerate.
Yes. Way to sit that on the table. I appreciate that.
No problem.
So, I did the whole Air Force ROTC thing when I was in high school. So I already had kind of exposure to the regiment, if you will, of what military life could possibly be like. When you're ROTC, it's close. It's not quite the deal, but it's close, right? So you're being exposed to traditions and certain things that'll get you ready to be able to go into the military.
Sure, even the expectations.
That's right. So I had served enough time in the ROTC going up through high school to where I was able to gain rank once I actually did decide what service I was going to go to. And so I did. I signed up for the Navy. I went and took my ASVAB first, though, and I scored really well in the ASVAB. They were trying to get me to join in and do some type of nuclear program, work on the submarines or the nuclear reactors on some of the ships and things like that. And that's just not who I was, not what I wanted to do. If I'm going to join the military, I want to be near the tip of the spear. I want to be involved in things that mean something, and I want to be able to take myself and have an experience that I can be proud of, right? And so that's just how I viewed it. Got to remember now, my uncle lost an eye in Vietnam. My uncle's basically a friggin' hero as far as I'm concerned.
Sure, of course.
And so that's how it kind of went down. They gave me a list of things that I was eligible to do, and I said, recruiter, what's this hospital corps thing? I see the Marine Corps on here. I see Special Forces. Talk to me. And so the recruiter kind of went over it, and I was like, I don't know about the medical thing, but if it'll get me in one of these areas, I'll do what I got to do. And so when graduation happened, I did not stick around in Atlanta at all. I graduated, and a week later, one of the guys I grew up with, me and him actually signed up on the buddy program. A week after we graduated, we were headed to boot camp.
Wow.
So we left Atlanta, went down to the processing center, and then before you know it, we were off to Great Lakes, Illinois. We did our boot camp training up there. And then I went across the street to the Corpsman A School, is what it's called. And so you're going to go there, you learn all about the basics of what they want to teach you about medicine and how to operate in a hospital environment and a field environment to a certain extent. But it's a massive amount of training in a short period of time.
Sure.
Right? They're expecting you to pick it up and move on to the next subject.
But that's going to be your reality, right? If you're in the front lines, you have to be able to do that.
So what we learned when we were in Corpsman A School was that the hospital corpsman has a very, very long, proud history. It's the only entirely enlisted corps in the military service. And they're the most decorated group of enlisted folks there is out there. And so these guys have served alongside Marines, the Army, you name it, they've been there. And so, I took pride in being a hospital corpsman. And I took even more pride once I graduated from hospital corpsman A School. And I had a chance to go out to Camp Pendleton, and learn a lot, do a lot, and get trained to be ready to go with the Marines, learn their traditions and things like that, so that when you step on the Marine Corps installation after you've done that training, you're ready to rock.
Ready to rock and roll.
But what they don't explain to you is, they trained you, but there's still more to learn.
Well, which brings us to 9/11. 9/11 happens, right? So you get all your training, you're prepped, and then the world changes forever, right? You're in the middle of it.
Yeah. So you fast forward a little bit from out in Camp Pendleton, and I got orders to Newport, Rhode
I was going to say,
Island.
you're in Newport, right? By this time, you're in Newport.
Newport, Rhode Island. Not where I thought I was going to end up, not where I wanted to be. I've been living in Southern California for almost 2 years, and it's like, okay, well, I'm here. Got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started looking into a boatload of different things. How can I get out of here faster? What can I do to get myself out of here faster? Problem is I wasn't the spit polished, whatever you want to call it, sailor at the time, because, you know, I'm trying to learn how to deal with being somewhere I don't want to be.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But, you know, I kind of met my my partner there, and I was a wild dude back then. Okay. Very, very wild dude back then. And so I was just living life to the fullest of its extent.
Well, you're in California. The weather's always nice,
Yeah,
right? It's just, you know.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
So I'm riding motorcycles in Southern California and things like that, enjoying life.
Yeah.
But yeah, the orders came across, and I had to leave that life behind and come to Newport. I get here, and I'm stepping off the plane. I remember stepping over the jetway, and I had on a pair of flip-flops, some shorts, and a tank top. I didn't own jeans, real pants. All I had were my uniforms and beach wear. Because when you live in Southern Cali, it's always lovely. It's always lovely, right? So I really didn't prepare myself well enough to be on the East Coast, definitely not in New England.
Yeah.
And I got here, and I want to say it was like late October, early November.
Yeah.
And you guys already had snow on the ground. Already. But I step across that jetway, and I get this burst of cold air that shot up between my legs through them shorts, man. And it was like, okay, yep, I'm somewhere different. I get my sea bag. I go and jump in a cab, and I tell them to take me to the closest mall because it's time to buy some clothes so I can be better prepared here, you know. And I did the best I could with my time here.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9/11, something different. For our generation, that is our Pearl Harbor, right? That is our Pearl Harbor. You remember where you were and exactly what you were doing.
Talos, I just want to just mention this real quick. There's a generation out there that doesn't remember. They, you know,
I know.
we've gotten to that point where there are young people out there that you mentioned 9/11 and they don't understand what actually took place. Again, you mentioned Pearl Harbor. There's a generation of people that don't know that either. You know what I mean?
True.
And we keep getting further and further away from that. And I appreciate having this conversation. And when I saw this, that you were deployed during 9/11, it was important. I'm like, wow, this is a great opportunity to just bring some awareness back up, because we promised to never forget that. We promised.
correct.
We did. We promised.
correct.
And unfortunately, I think we might have forgotten a little bit. And
We got to wake up.
absolutely, brother.
Got to wake up.
It was enough. So you're in Newport. You don't want to be here. This happens, right? It's fire, bro. It's a fire that lights inside you. Am I right?
Already ready to go. Already ready to go. It didn't matter where, when, what was going on. I like to tell people I finally got exactly what I asked for. And some of that is youth. Some of it is ignorance, because you've never been in combat. You don't understand what that really means until you get there. Right. But I had been prepared. I mean, I had started training when I was in high school to come into the military. Like, it wasn't a joke for me.
Right.
Because I understood how serious it was. But again, you don't really know what you're walking into until you actually get into the middle of the stinky stuff. So
Right.
I'm sitting in the classroom over on the base in Newport, and I'm taking what's called Advanced Cardiac Life Support class. And we're specifically going over something called BCD, which is Basic Cardiac Dysrhythmia. It's funny, I can just spit that out there like that. But when they train you, brother, I promise you don't forget much.
Right.
But I'm sitting in this Basic Cardiac Dysrhythmia class, and I'm learning how to read the PQRST waves on the monitor. And one of the instructors pops in, is a first-class petty officer, hospital corpsman. It's got a nice set of chest medals and ribbons and things like that. And I remember him walking in, and he goes, "Everybody stop what you're doing. You're never going to believe what you're about to see." And he disappeared for a minute. He came back, and I'm going to date myself here, but he rolls in.
I was going to say he rolled in the TV.
He rolled in the TV, you know, the double-decker with the wheels on the bottom, TV strapped to the top, right? And he plugs in the coax cable and turns it on, and all you see is smoke. All you see is smoke in the first tower. And we're sitting there watching this, and everybody cannot believe what they're seeing. You're a little confused because you don't understand exactly what's going on.
Right. Because some reports are like, plane's out of control, so we don't even know if it's terrorism yet. We're not sure.
We're not sure.
Right.
But then that second plane hits the next tower. And then it's not too many minutes after that, the towers start to come down. And that's when things really got real. We started to understand this wasn't normal. This wasn't an accident. We were being attacked, right? And no one actually knew who was attacking us, but we knew we were being attacked.
Right.
And again, nothing like this had happened on American soil since the attack on Pearl Harbor. But all of us that are sitting there in that room, every single hospital corpsman, at that moment, we knew the time was going to come where we were going to have to change the uniform that we were in and go somewhere and show somebody.
The training just became
You don't come
real.
here and you don't do things like that
Right.
in the United States because we don't take kindly to it.
Right.
Immediately, I want to say within 2 weeks, I got expedited orders to Camp Lejeune. And that's significant because my first daughter was already on the way. Right. And at that point, she was born before I left. But yeah, it was wild, man. Like I don't know exactly how to express the emotions and the feelings that were attached to it, but everybody was fired up. There wasn't a second guessing of where you were and what you were supposed to get ready to be able to do. And so, they did this thing where you get extra ready to go because you don't know when you're going to have to leave until the messages come across. So you got all of your shots. You got yourself deployable, right? You got deployment ready in that moment.
Right.
But I got expedited orders to go to Camp Lejeune because I'd already went to what's called Field Medical Service School. And so I get down to Lejeune, and it is just full speed ahead, getting ready to go, period. There's not a question. This is full speed ahead, getting ready to go. And I spent 9 years at Camp Lejeune.
Wow.
And a lot of that time was either overseas or getting ready to go overseas. So when you were with the Marine Corps is set up to be expeditionary, forward operating, tip of the spear, let's make things happen. Marines come in to kick the door down and tell everybody, we're not here to take your shit. And so that's one of the things I love about the Marine Corps. Yeah. But once you get on station, once you get to Camp Lejeune or Camp Pendleton, wherever you end up going, you really understand how important your role is to the Marines as a hospital corpsman because you're there to save their life. But you're there for a little bit more than that. You're there to save their life, but you got to learn your Marines' jobs as well.
Sure.
Right? So you're not just standing there with your putter in your hand. You know what I mean? If somebody goes down, you got to do the best you can to help them get fixed up. If they need to go to the next echelon of care, you get that lifeline out, you get the medevac in, and then you pick up where they left off. And then you get ready to do it again. And fortunately, I'm still here. Sometimes I feel bad about still being here. Because you lose people and you say to yourself, you wish that person could still be here, right? Because once you get into a unit and you get close to these guys and they envelop you and you earn their respect, you're more than just, guys in a platoon together, more than just guys in a unit together. Sure. You become family because you're going to weddings, you're going to the hospital when people's kids are being born. You're Uncle so-and-so now. You're not just your name and your rank.
Right.
It's way more than that. You get really, really close. So when you lose one of those guys, it hit different. It hits really, really different. And so, I struggle with that from time to time.
Yeah, but you ever wonder sometimes that someone has to carry the legacy, brother? Like you were the one chosen to carry that legacy and to never forget who they were and the sacrifices that they made for all of us.
What I feel is that that's part of the debt you owe. That's part of the debt you owe is being one of the ones that were lucky enough to survive, right? You help keep their memory going however you see fit. For me, it's like trying your best to stick up for veterans here in the city, remembering that they're no longer here, so you celebrate things they can't celebrate, and remembering that. So I do the best that I can with those things. I'm not perfect, man. I'm flawed. I'm a human being.
Absolutely.
And none of us are perfect.
Right.
So I keep that in the back of my mind, but it took me a while to get there. I'm not going to lie to you, ever. It took me a while to get there. After those deployments, my body started to break down, and I had to call it into my service. I struggled, man. I struggled mightily. I struggled trying to understand how I could fit back in society when this is all I knew.
When did you come back to Newport? Was that where you?
No. So I stayed in Camp Lejeune for 9 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is post-deployment?
Yeah. Post-deployments. And there comes a time when they tell you got to go somewhere else. You can't stay here your whole entire career.
Yeah, right.
And so it was time for me to go. And I know I had seen probably too much. When you put your hands inside another human being trying to save their life, and you're not always successful just because it's just not written in the cards for you to be able to do it. Sometimes the injuries are too traumatic, they're too severe, and you take it personally, especially if you're a hospital corpsman worth your weight. You know, if you're worth your salt, you're going to take any loss personally because your whole job is to help save your Marines. And if you can't save them, you better make them as comfortable as you possibly can before they check out, right? And so I did. I took that stuff personal. It was a badge of honor, and I carry that with me even to this day. But you fast forward past all of that stuff, man, and when it was time for me to leave Lejeune, you know, I was a little distracted by thinking about things that had happened on some of the deployments. And so I was going through, me and Chanel weren't together at that time.
Okay.
And so I was struggling.
So there's some PTSD. You've got some.
I didn't know that. This was a different
Because you're
time.
strong. Yeah, you're a strong man.
This was a different
I can
time.
imagine this. The strong brain, not.
This was a different time. Mental wellness and mental health wasn't a priority.
We can't allow it. No time
I think
for that.
we had done 2 or 3 deployments, man, before we even got a questionnaire on anything regarding anything revolving or even looking at anything close to mental health, right? And so by then, we were laughing about it. It was like, oh, now you guys want to question us?
Sure.
We're fine.
Yeah, right.
Because if you're not fine, you won't be able to get back out there with your brothers, right? So anyway, time came for me to leave Camp Lejeune, and because of that bad relationship that I was in, I needed to get as far away as possible. And so I took orders to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
What?
Yeah, so I took orders to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and one of the units I served with in Iraq, one of our jobs was to transport enemy prisoners of war. Right. And every now and then,
at this time,
it was to get them.
So I'm going to say everybody from 9/11 is there. That's where they sent everybody, was to Guantanamo Bay. They're all there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So I take orders to Gitmo, not thinking, just wanting to get away from everything.
Yeah.
And not for nothing though, Gitmo was probably one of the best decisions I ever made going there because it allowed me to kind of breathe a little bit. But it also was the first chance for me to understand I had went through something and I wasn't the same person again. You know, it's difficult sometimes to recognize when you have injuries that you can't see, right? And so at the time, sleeping was a real issue, you know, and some people say fake it till you make it, but yeah, but no. So I'm in Guantanamo Bay. I'm running the radiology department at the hospital. I'm responsible for the radiology stuff over in the camps where they kept the detainees. And so I had to go over there from time to time, check on the personnel, check on the equipment, different things like that. And I go over there and I see one of the dudes that we helped ring up, right? And he loses his mind. He's banging on the freaking glass. He's cutting up real bad. And it was just like one of those body jolts. Like I knew one of those. I knew I
was a ghost. Up until now, it's a ghost. They don't really.
Eventually I was going to bump into one of those guys because I had to go to the camps and everything like that. But it was one of those moments where I kind of had a jolt to myself, and I didn't process that well. And so I'm self-medicating, and you know that came in the form of enjoying some drinks with the boys. And it got to a point where it was like, "You're doing too much, brother." Slow down. You're doing too much. What's wrong with you? And so I was very fortunate. My senior enlisted leader down in Guantanamo Bay happened to be at my previous command at Lejeune. And he was on what's called a twilight tour. He was doing his last tour of duty, and he decided to go to Gitmo.
So he has a baseline for you. He knows
exactly what I got going on. He knows exactly what I got going on. Old salty dog. And he comes up to me one day while I'm doing my leading the troops, doing PT, and we had just got done with PT, and Master Chief pulled me aside and he said, Doc, I'm gonna need you to come sit down with me a little bit later on this evening. And I'm like, Master Chief, you need me to do what? That's not something you really do. Right? And so I got Master Chief welcoming me to a sit down. I'm like, all right, I done fucked up somewhere. Just trying to think back, what did I do, right? And it still hadn't dawned on me what he was noticing. And then, I went and had to sit down with him. Master Chief told me flat out. He said, look, you show up every day with your uniform pressed and ready to go. You're leading the troops, but you're not the same corpsman that was in Camp Lejeune, and I can see it. Your eyes are telling on you. He said, you're drinking at night to sleep, and you don't got to say yes. I'm telling you, I know that's what you're doing. And he said, I can only tell you that because I've been there. He said, I want you to put it down, and I want you to talk to somebody because the drinking is not the problem. And he was right. It wasn't the problem.
Wow.
Right? And so that was probably the first time I opened my eyes enough to hear and see and understand what was really going on with me. But, you know, I started talking to somebody at Lejeune, in Guantanamo Bay. But time there is short-lived. You can only spend about 2 years there. You even have to request more time to be able to stay there for 2 years, and I did that.
Yeah.
So I had already extended to be able to be there the max amount of time I could. But while I was there, you know, I accomplished some good things too. You know, I helped transition the Naval Hospital from using a trailer for their CT machine to completely retrofitting the entire radiology department with brand new equipment. I kind of got the government some money back from a bad plan somebody before me had put together, and we got CT inside of the hospital instead of being in the trailer. We upgraded the services basically, and it wasn't just some BS upgrade. It brought top-of-the-line technology to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, which was unheard of at the time.
No kidding.
Okay, the only way you were getting this type of service was back stateside. So I got us, at the time, a 32-slice CT machine brought in and put inside the facility, which was massive. And so I left a decent legacy behind there. I also started the Junior Enlisters Association there, which gave the junior troops an opportunity to form a group and kind of lead themselves, but do good work on the base there, right? Because everybody's on that base.
Right.
Your civilians, military, the Army's there doing support operations and things like that. So, you know, we had to find our way, but I helped start that group.
Absolutely.
There.
And if anybody knows, like I'm in the industry, so I know CT and cancer treatments and how important all that is. So for those who don't know, that's life-changing. That saves lives. You're saving lives.
We had the
brother.
biggest, we had the most capability in the Caribbean at the time because of that upgrade.
Wow. And you're doing this while you're drinking at night.
To sleep.
Imagine that. Amazing,
I remember
man.
Chanel came down to visit me while I was in Guantanamo Bay.
She's amazing, by the way. I hope you don't mind me saying she's an amazing human being.
She is. We'll talk about her in a little bit because she is an amazing individual as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I know. But she came to visit me while I was down there, and I think it was around 4th of July or so. And I think she started to understand at that point I wasn't the same person either. I'm outside the barracks, and we had taken like 3 or 4 grills and put them together, and I'm slinging burgers and dogs and stuff like that for all the folks in the barracks. And we had 2 of those huge sea chests, the big white ones, filled to the brim with ice and libations. Right? It's a party. It's a party because almost everybody there has deployed, and so they're kind of like on downtime but still serving.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so we're just enjoying the 4th of July. And then they decided they wanted to do fireworks off a barge in the bay. And that first firework went off, the first deal went off, and I watched it go up in the air. And when that sound hit, it like jolted you back into a spot you didn't want to be. And I just I remember walking away from the grill, walking away from everybody, and I just walked back in my room. I stayed in my room the rest of the night. And I think that's when she began to understand, like, yeah, he's not exactly the same person at all. Wow. And so, you know, that right there was one of those experiences as well that happened for me in Guantanamo Bay that started to open my own eyes to the fact that I had changed as a person just from some of the stuff that I had seen. Anyway, time came for me to leave, and that was the only time I've ever shed a tear for leaving a duty station. Guantanamo Bay was that good for me.
Wow.
I found solace on the water. Is what happened. So when we put the drinks down, I just started hitting the ocean. So I would go down to the MWR spot, get a boat, and I just go out on the ocean and fish all night over the weekends.
So quiet.
Very quiet.
Brother.
You can see the bioluminescence in the water. Right. It's calming, and all you have out there is the stars, the bioluminescence in the water, and your thoughts. And if you quiet your thoughts, you have peace. And that was one of the first times I had found peace since leaving Camp Lejeune. And just trying to find myself again. I wasn't completely there, not even close. I was not completely there. But you were able to kind of detach for a moment from the things you had been dealing with, you know, and so it just kind of worked for me. But that's when I realized how powerful being on the ocean could be for your mental health. was going out on the ocean myself, and I got up to speed on ocean fishing. I grew up landlocked in Atlanta, and then my first exposure to the ocean life in any way wasn't even California, because when I was out in California, I was going to the beach to pull ladies.
Yeah, right.
I'm riding a motorcycle. I'm living my life.
You're doing a different kind of fishing.
Yeah. I'm doing a different kind of fishing out there.
Let me get that for you. It's right here.
Yeah.
Let me get that so it doesn't pull on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing a different kind of fishing out in Cali.
Yeah.
But, that was the beginning of my career. I was young. I was 18, and I was out in the world, and I was living my life and having a good time doing it. We're traveling to Mexico on the weekends because you can go there and drink and party because it's legal.
It was the calm before the storm, brother.
It was, and I didn't know that at the time. But we get back into Cuba, and that's where I started to find a little bit of peace. A little bit. It wasn't peaceful yet, but it was a little bit of peace. But when the time came for me to leave there, it was like,
oh wow,
man, I'm gonna miss this place. I'm really, really gonna miss this place. I'm gonna miss the people. I had gotten in really well with the Filipino community there, gotten in really well with the Jamaican community there, because there's a large amount of Jamaicans and Filipinos working on the naval installation down there in Guantanamo Bay. Right, so we have
such a huge melting pot of culture, right? Of culture,
huge Okay, so Friday night ends, and if you don't have duty over the weekend to man our radiology department, then you're free. You're free to have fun. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I had fun with my shipmates and with my soldiers that were there and with the Marines that were there. We would go in the evening, we would eat and enjoy life with the Filipinos early in the evening. And then around 11:30, 12 o'clock, we go hook up with the Jamaicans, and we hang out with the Jamaicans until the sun comes up.
I was going to say till the sun comes up.
Oh, yeah. They know how to party,
right,
man.
Right.
They know how to party. And again, we're young.
Yeah.
We're young, but...
What an experience, right?
Oh, man,
what an experience.
I enjoyed my military service, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. I got to travel and experience different cultures and see different things that I never would have been exposed to had I stayed in Atlanta, right? The reality is, had I stayed in Atlanta, I probably would be dead or in jail. That's just the reality of it. You're living life loose and fast growing up poor down there.
The universe had other plans for you, Talos. It had other plans.
Yeah. And I'm grateful
for
that.
What an amazing journey. What an amazing journey up to this point, brother. Like, seriously, this is...
The moment I realized I had to leave, like I said, it was difficult leaving Guantanamo Bay because it was one of those places where I had started to finally find a little peace after Lejeune. And so I left there. I get stationed back stateside. I'm running the clinic there in Albany, Georgia, on the Marine Corps installation there. And it's good duty because I'm not far from home.
I was going to say, you're back home.
I can drive from Albany to Atlanta and be there. It should take me 3.5, 4 hours. I'm getting there in 2.5. But we're not going to talk about that. Which led to a speeding ticket, by the way, that I completely forgot about. But
oh boy,
we won't talk about that. But it was another great experience. But that's when I realized like the toll that being with the Marine Corps side of things really had started to show itself. Mm-hmm. And again, I was trying to ignore it. I actually had spent enough time there where it was time for me to pick orders and go to another duty station. And I was about to be stationed at MARSOC, which is the Marine Corps Special Operations Command back at Camp Lejeune. And I was really looking forward to that duty because it was one of those things on my checklist of I got to get there, right? I want to make this a part of my career. But unfortunately, I had a run-in with a civilian that happened to be a reservist. And one of the things I'm never, ever good at is doing the bobblehead thing and going along with the program. And she had this thing where she would make the corpsman call her captain. You're not in uniform, ma'am. You're a civilian out here in here. Mm-hmm. And I never went along with that. And so she made it her life's duty to figure out how she could help screw the kid over. But anyway, some kind of way she got into my medical record and she made it known I had too many deployments and I hadn't been screened for mental health and a couple of other things. And it was like, okay. So before the command allowed me to leave to go to MARSOC, I had this screening done, and they felt like I had too many deployments, and they had a couple of other questions, and so they were like, you know what? No, you're not going to be able to go to MARSOC. As a matter of fact, the Navy is downsizing. The hospital corpsman rate is a little too big, so if you want to stay in the military, you've got a couple of choices. And one of them is you could become a musician, you could become a Navy career counselor, or you can bow out gracefully. And so I did not take that well at all. I didn't take that well. I didn't process it well. I felt like I should still be in the fight. I felt like I should be afforded the opportunity to go to MARSOC and start back deploying again so that some of the younger cats didn't have to do it.
Do you still feel that way now? Do you still
absolutely
like today?
not.
You still feel that way? That
No. My body wasn't holding up the way it was supposed to be able to be in a position to be useful. And I think had I gone to MARSOC and not been healed all the way, I would have been a detriment and somebody might have gotten killed. And so, again, it's one of those where in the moment you don't realize it, that things are working out the way they're supposed to work out. But this was kind of on short notice. Mind you now, I'm getting ready to change duty stations. And it didn't work that way. And I definitely wasn't about to become a Navy musician. So I bowed out gracefully and went on my way. But I wasn't ready for it, And so I leave there and I call myself going back home. That didn't last very long. I actually ended up in Florida. So I leave the Marine Corps installation. I end up going to Florida.
Oh, what a punch in the gut, bro.
And, I'm just trying to figure out where I fit, how I fit.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't ready to be out of the military. I was angry. My boys are deploying. I'm not there with them. Like, all that is running through my head. People don't understand what's going on in the world right now. They're taking too many things for granted. I specifically remember being in line at a Starbucks, and this lady was losing her mind, 2 people in front of me with the barista, and the barista was a young cat, probably maybe 20. She's losing her mind with the barista over what he put in her drink, right, over her coffee. And it was very disrespectful. But I remember in that moment, I remember saying to myself, this chick has no clue what's going on in the world right now. You're sitting here berating this kid over an ingredient in your coffee, and there's people deployed right now losing their life.
Perspective, brother.
Right?
Perspective.
But that was on me, though.
Sure.
I was expecting a civilian that had never served, that didn't care 2 shits about what was going on overseas, to understand that kind of perspective that I had. And that was me. That was on me. That wasn't on that person.
True.
Right?
True.
But at the time, you're processing life because you're trying to figure out where you belong, how you fit.
Absolutely.
And so I got to a point where in that moment I was like, what is the world doing right now? What are people doing? I was extremely disillusioned. I had lost faith in humanity from looking at all that death and destruction overseas. And that's on both sides, not just on our side, on both sides, right? War comes with a cost.
Absolutely.
And that cost is the lives of the better part of us, our youth here in the United States. The less than 1% of the population signs up to become active duty personnel, right? And so these are some of the youngest, some of the brightest we have to offer. And they go overseas and they're losing their lives to be a part of this war. And it wasn't for nothing because we had been treaded on. But not understanding that everybody didn't appreciate it the same way I did was on me. But it was a difficult time. It was dark. And eventually it got to a point where the money ran out. I was living in my vehicle. It just wasn't cute, man. It was not cute. It was not for show. It wasn't funny. And I tried to go back to Georgia to be with my family there and try and help out in some kind of way. But after about 1 too many resumes being put out and 1 too many job applications and not being picked up or getting told, oh, you can be a janitor. Yeah, no, that's not going to work for me, boss. Appreciate it, but no, thank you. Yeah, I ended up on the street, man. I hit it well. My father had no clue. At the time, he had no clue that I didn't have anywhere to stay.
Wow.
And
you don't want him to know, right?
I don't.
You don't want him to know.
I got a shit ton of respect for my dad,
Right.
and I would never want him to think that I had just given up. But because I hadn't at the time, not yet. But there did come a point after the point where you can no longer pay for that car that you're living out of, that nobody realizes you're living out of it, and they take that car. Is bad at this point.
How long are you doing this?
I think it was a period of about 2 to 2.5 years.
Wow. Talos.
And there came a point where I'm sleeping on a bench in one of the parks there in the city in Grant Park, and I'm watching a homeless dude get pressed. I guess he had owed somebody some money, and they're pressing him and stuff, and it just wasn't a good look. But you see things on the street, man, you'll never forget when you're sleeping outside. When you take that experience and have to figure out where your next meal is coming from. And sometimes that means you got to snatch a meal out of the trash can, brother. It changes who you are.
Because I have to ask you, where does it come from? What's the moment that you're like, this is it? Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need, when does that moment happen? It's on the show, I always call it the absolute, right? It's that moment in our lives where you're at the absolute worst possible situation for yourself, where you realize there's only one way for me to go.
My oldest daughter suffered not having me around a lot because of the deployments and the decisions I made after getting out of the military, and struggling with my mental health and struggling with understanding my place in the world and in society again. And it was a visit where, I had the opportunity to see her, and I hadn't seen her in a while. And I don't know, something mom said, you're better than this. I don't know what you're struggling with. I don't know what you're going through, but you're better than this. Get your shit together. And it was like that aha moment, like my daughter needs me. But the intent was never to take myself away from my daughter. The intent was not to let her see me struggle and go through trying to figure out my place and deal with the dark things that were going through my head, and dealing with friends being lost, and dealing with seeing so many dead, and when you scrape somebody's brains off the ground, man, it just changes you. I don't know what else to say about it. Right? It changes you in a way. But I was struggling dealing with those things and how to be a member of society at the same time.
Because nobody's going to understand, right? Nobody's ever, right? You're convinced yourself that you're convinced nobody's going to understand this.
And I'm seeing people live their lives in a way that makes it seem as if they don't care what's happening overseas as well. You got to realize that conflict was never supposed to be a long conflict. But it was.
Absolutely.
Right? It ended up being a very long
Absolutely.
conflict.
Yes.
We're not going to speak on that right now, but the cost is the cost, man. And so I get to a point where I'm like, you know what? She is not lying to me, and I need to figure this the fuck out. My daughter needs me. I need me, right? My family needs me. I'm the eldest, and I'm realizing like I got to get this together, bro. I got to get it together. And so I did what my dad taught me, man. He always taught me to be a man of my own. And shit gets rough, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You know what I mean? So that's what I started to do. I started to get it together.
One. What's step one?
Step one was admitting to my dad that I was homeless. Step one was definitely having a real conversation with him and not trying to fake the funk anymore, and just tell him exactly what I was struggling with, what I was going through. And so I did. We had that conversation. I said, Dad, I don't have anywhere to stay. I've been living out of my car. I've been trying my best. They took the car. That's why you see me the way you see me. That's why you don't see me as much as you used to. It's because I don't have a vehicle. And so I just kind of been making it do what it do, however I can get it. And he told me, he said, I knew at some point you would come talk to me about what you were going through. And I knew you were going through something, but I wasn't going to press you about it because you've experienced something I haven't experienced. He said, I had talked to your uncle. I said, okay. So Unc gave him an idea, right? But he was wanting to respect my space with that experience. So he didn't press me about it. He said, I know you're going to come to me. And I did. I came to him. We had that conversation. And, you know, like any good father would, you know, he offered me the shirt off his back. And I'm, no, sir. No, sir. You know, my dad would try to offer me money and stuff like that, and I can't take it. No. You don't understand, son. Take the $40, get a bus pass, and do what you got to do. And I humbled myself, and I took that $40, and I started doing.
Help me help you. Just right.
Yeah,
Give me
pretty much.
Yes,
right.
Give me the opportunity. Right.
And my dad was very proud of me. You know, in my service. While I was at Camp Lejeune, he came to visit me a couple of times post-deployment. And I think that's one of the few times I seen my dad like truly, truly happy, like really happy. Me making it back home from a deployment, him being there, bringing my sisters, my stepmom, and just us all being together. My daughter was there visiting, different things.
Then more importantly, what did that do for you? To have that support.
Yeah.
Because I think ultimately, Taylor, I hope you don't mind me saying this, I think through all of this, that's been the force behind everything you've done.
I didn't see that in the moments where I needed to see it the most. I didn't see that. You know, all I saw was the doom and the gloom and the things that I have seen that was blocking my view, you know. But yeah, I mean, he offered that handout, and truly, honestly, it wasn't a handout. It really was a hand up, what he was offering me as his son. And so I took that hand up and I got my bus pass, you know, and the very, very first job I took, notice how I put that, at the very first job I took was one that paid absolutely nothing. It was straight commission. I went and took 10 of those $40, and I went to the thrift store and I bought me a couple pairs of slacks. I bought me a couple ties. I bought me a couple shirts, and I went and took any interview they would take me on. And I ended up having the opportunity to go do some commission work for AT&T and what is that? The Dish Network, is it? I think it might have
Dish
been.
Network. Yeah,
I think there was a time where they were
DirecTV.
DirecTV. That's it.
DirecTV.
AT&T
Yes.
and DirecTV.
Yeah.
DirecTV had linked up.
Yep.
Right. So I'm hitting the streets of Atlanta on foot,
Door to door,
knocking, signing people up, trying to earn my commissions. Eventually, I get enough of that going on to where I can get a check or two, and I take that money. I go back to the thrift shop. I buy me a couple of more outfits to be able to present myself a little bit more professional. And I started there. And it was step by step by step by step after that. And there came a point where, like she said, get your shit together. That opportunity came around for me to show her that I had gotten my shit together. Even then, you know, when the family left from here and went to Georgia, there was a moment there where I was still kind of struggling. And so, you know, I didn't give up. I got myself in school a little bit, and then another opportunity came. Mind you, I still wasn't dealing with the mental health part of the things I had saw. And so...
But you got to get started. Like something
you
like
get
this
started
is
somewhere.
right.
You got to get started
right. Like get a foundation going.
That's right.
Right.
That's
right.
Luckily, I had taken a step in the right direction, and I finally gave myself the opportunity to take advantage of one of the benefits I had earned, and I knew my body was busted up. And so I reached out one day after walking. Walking. Oh my God. I'm walking from work to school. And one of those days was like a real bad day. One of the execs at a place where I was working with had a bad day, and it bled over into my environment. And I felt bad for the guy sitting next to me, and I kind of took it on personally. You know, some of us are wolves, some of us are sheep, and some of us are sheepdogs, and I consider myself a sheepdog. And this dude was being come after for no apparently good reason. And so me and that executive had a couple of words, and I told him, I was like, you can tell him what he did wrong, but you need to do that in a way that's respectful to him as a man and as a human being. And if you don't like what I'm saying, we can talk about it later outside. Just cut it raw.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I'm at a job, man. I'm in a professional setting. Yeah. And white collar dudes don't always take that kind of stuff well. They wanna go to HR, and they want
egos, brother.
He didn't take it that way.
Egos.
He didn't take it that way. I earned a shit ton of respect from this guy from having that conversation with him. And we end up being halfway decent friends afterwards. But on that day, I just felt like, man, I overstepped. I was overcritical of myself leaving the job. So I'm walking, I pick up the phone, and I say, you know what? I put in a claim to the VA so long ago, and I've never heard anything about it. It's been years. Never heard anything about it. And come to find out, my stuff had been sitting on somebody's desk here in Providence that had quit. And I was one of many. And apparently Congress was already involved, whatever, but I was one of many. But I made a phone call to the IG, Inspector General's office, and I just let my heart out over the phone, and then I hung up. And 2 days later, somebody called me back and said, we got you. We're going to take a look into this and figure out what's going on. And sure enough, that's what happened. They figured it out, and it was at that moment that little bit of money from the VA started to kick in. And they owed me a nice little penny back because it had been so long. And so I finally had like a little bit I can lean on and start over.
Yes.
I can start over a little bit. And so I used that, man. I used that to help start me on the right path. But ultimately, the biggest thing I did for myself was I reached out to the Wounded Warrior Project, and I told them, I said, you know, I need to talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody about some of the stuff that I've seen, some of the things I experienced. And that was the beginning of me truly like turning the corner, so to speak. I got to a point where I got comfortable talking to somebody every week, just letting it out, not holding back anything. We had built a little bit of trust, and I started to get to a point where I can sleep for more than 3.5 hours at night now because I'm getting some of this stuff off my chest, whereas I had been holding it so tight and so close, and I wasn't sharing with anybody.
Yeah, if you don't share it, you own it, brother.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you don't share it, you own it,
Right.
brother.
So, I did that for myself, but it was bigger than that because what I didn't realize in the moment was I was doing it not just for me. By freeing myself of some of that baggage, I was making myself more available to my family. I was making myself more available to the people that actually cared about me in some real capacity. And so that was the beginning of the other steps, man. Eventually, I found another opportunity. I took a job through a program with Wounded Warrior Project at Walmart, stocking shelves overnight. And I went from doing that to becoming a manager. And from that came another opportunity that I saw. And I was like, you know what, bro? You need the money, take it. And so I got an opportunity to work for Kaiser Permanente.
Yeah, well, this is kind of like your entrepreneurship, right? This kind of started a couple things for you, right?
Kaiser Permanente opened a door for me, man. And what it did was it got my juices going again, like a little bit of fire, just enough. I wasn't full-fledged on fire. It was just enough to say, you know what, bro, you can do this. You can do this. You can come back from anything. You can come back from anything. And so I put that professional hat back on, and I'm doing benefits advising for Kaiser Permanente during the day. Take my time to go home, take a quick nap, put a lunch bag together, put on my overnight working clothes, and go to Walmart and work overnight. And when I would get done with that shift, I go to the gym, go to use the shower, change into professional clothes, and back to Kaiser Permanente during the day. What's significant about that for me is I was burning the candle at both ends, but with a purpose, right? I was trying to get myself started again.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to get myself started again, and doing that, I started believing myself again, and I started coming back close, I think, to the person I was supposed to be at some point in my life, right? And then I got another big whammy. I had already lost somebody in my life at that point. And then I found out my dad had stage 4 lung cancer. He wasn't a smoker. And that kind of sent me back down that dark path a bit again, because you got to realize this is my hero. Me and Chanel did everything we could to make him comfortable for as long as we possibly could. I am grateful for the simple fact that I had gotten my shit together enough to have a place where I could put my dad up in our front room in his hospital bed while he's going through hospice. I think we extended his life another 3 months just by having him there in the house with us. Chanel did an amazing job of helping take care of my dad while I was working 2 jobs. My girls were at his bedside every single day, and he was surrounded with love, and he got to see his grandkids every single day before he left this earth. And I can't be more grateful for that. I can't be more grateful to Chanel, and I can't be more grateful and thankful to myself for having, enough belief in myself to at least attempt to work the shit out of myself, to be in a position to be there when my dad needed me most, and so that experience was everything, but it also broke me a bit, because you got to realize I'm watching my hero struggle mightily. He's going through chemo treatments and things like that. And, he still got a smile on his face. He's still cutting jokes. He was there for Thanksgiving, and he had the biggest plate, man. The biggest plate. It wasn't going nowhere. It was going right through him, but he had it. Same thing with Christmas. And yeah, my heart was full in a way, but it was being broken at the same time. Because you got to realize I got my family here with me now, but I'm losing one of the most important pieces of who I am as a person. He helped shape me in almost every way.
Absolutely. Right?
So you fast forward a little bit after Christmas, and he was no longer able to stay with us. And so we buried him. I buried an aunt. I buried a niece. And this is me telling you, I think COVID existed before they told us COVID existed. But it was after those deaths. And then my mom, after we moved back up here, we had moved back up here, and we had to go back down to Georgia to bury my mom in the middle of COVID. And that right there was another one of those where we didn't end up burying her. She got cremated. But so on my mantle, I have my niece, I have my father, I have my mom. You know,
we're talking, it was like 2018,
Yeah.
2019,
Yeah.
2018.
Yep. But I'm here in the city, and I had been in and out of the city because, again, my girls grew up here. So I'm watching the city go up and down, and, you know, through these ebb and flows and through.
Just real quick, can I just say something?
Yeah.
It's as if the universe was preparing you for that, brother.
I don't know, but whatever it was definitely a ride. That's for sure.
You know, it made you the man you are, to be strong enough to carry that baton, for your dad to literally reach over and be like, it's your turn, brother.
And so maybe that was the case, Bobby. I don't know.
It's what I see, man. It's what I see.
But we come back up here. My middle daughter is severely autistic. She's nonverbal. And like I said, I got to a point where I was able to get us a home and stuff like that down in Georgia. And we moved into the best school district because I wanted only the best for my kids, but I also knew my daughter needed a lot of supports, right? And so I tried to make sure we moved into the best school district there in Georgia, but Georgia was nowhere near what we needed it to be compared to Massachusetts for these supports for an autistic child. And so when it was time, and we relocated back here simply because it was time to go, man. Like, I couldn't stay in that house anymore. My father passed in that house, you know, and there were some things I needed to prove to myself. There were some things I needed to prove to Chanel. And so we relocated back up here, and immediately Anaya had the supports, my middle child. She had the supports that she needed in order to be able to start thriving again. And that was, you know, the kids are always more important than you are, or they should be.
Absolutely.
At least that's what my life has taught me. Your kids are supposed to be more important to you, even though I didn't always live it. That's what's supposed to be. And so from that moment, from getting back here in Mass, it was just like, do whatever you can to survive and be there with your family, support your family, and let them be there for you too, as best that you can. So I struck out doing my own thing. And then there was this opportunity that came in front of me over through BCC. The veterans director at the center up there at BCC approached me. He's like, you know, this job is coming available, and I know you quietly are in the background in the veteran scene. Now, everybody knows who you are, and you do that on purpose because you don't want to be dragged into certain stuff. But this is an opportunity for you to jump out there and try to help as many people as you possibly can.
Or it's the universe calling again. Are you going to pick up the phone? You know what I mean? Like,
and I told him, I was like, man, I'm not doing that. What do you mean? I'm concerned about my family and doing this thing over here. And nah. He just kept at it. He kept at it. And eventually I was like, you know what? All right, Denny, I'm going to put in for it. But even more significant than that, I think one of the other things that kind of got my fire ignited again while I was at BCC was watching the younger veterans in the Veteran Center there that were part of the Student Veterans of America chapter there. Mm-hmm. Watching these guys and girls around the table, man, really kind of lit a real fire underneath me and showed me that it was okay for me to fully jump in. Like, it's all right. It's all right. Jump in. You got a lot to offer. You've not been offering what you have to offer. Jump in with these younger cats, get involved, and show what you can do. And so I didn't, in the beginning, I just kind of sat on the edge and I just helped direct a little bit, right, and support. And then came my opportunity to lead through that organization. BCC was recognized on the national stage at the Student Veterans of America National Conference as a finalist for Chapter of the Year. And I had the shoulders of a couple of other presidents before me to stand on because of that. But you're talking about little bitty old BCC on stage with the University of Washington and Cornell and big boy stuff. Not
Taylor, that's
small.
not an accident. Taylor, that's not an accident.
Not
brother.
something small,
yeah,
but that's because of what we were pouring
Absolutely.
into it, right?
Absolutely.
And so you move on from that, and that opportunity came that then he put in front of me. The city was looking for a veterans officer. And I had already had an experience with the veterans office there in the city or whatever. But I said, you know what? Here's a shot. I'm going to take my shot. And so I put my resume and stuff together and went through that process. And eventually I was selected to be the Director of Veteran Services here in the
Which
city.
you currently are
That's correct.
today.
Yes. Yes.
So-
and it ain't all roses, man. You can't help everybody as bad as I want to. And it's not always as fluid as I want it to be. You know, we're trying to look forward. We're trying to be proactive. We're trying to do something different than what's always been done. And sometimes people push against that. And that's okay. I get it. You're afraid. Change is difficult for people. And sometimes change actually physically hurts people.
Sure.
But I promise you that any and everything that I'm trying to do is in a way and for us to move forward to make the scene better for veterans and their families here in the city. And again, it's not always perfect.
Well, can I
Yeah, go for it. Yes, sir.
like once you enter the realm and you accept a position, it's a government job.
It is.
Right. So
it is.
with that comes the bureaucracy. There's no way to avoid bureaucracy. So, you know, your heart's in the right place. You want to drive this forward. And there's always two sides to this argument. And one side of the argument is, well, if you feed stray cats, they just keep coming for the food, right? And then there's the other side of the argument says, don't feed them at all and they'll just go away. So how do you navigate through that? How do you find, right?
Very true.
Right.
Very true.
And so that's why, like, I even mentioned this because I say to myself, you're putting yourself in a position where you have to navigate through that.
Yes, sir.
You have to find the peace. You have to find the 50-50 and somehow convince everybody around you that this is going to work and it's in better interest for everyone.
Right. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult, right? First of all, I hadn't been a veteran service officer before. I had the background in benefits advising, being a hospital corpsman because it's part of the training that we take. We learn the military healthcare system. Right. And then on top of it, we learn how to advise veterans and their families or military personnel and their families on the benefits that are available to them when they're on active duty and in reserve time. Right. We learned the TRICARE healthcare system. And so that experience coupled with the time that I spent with Kaiser Permanente kind of made it a little bit easier for me to transition into the role as a VSO. Right. But there's still things that you have to learn and pick up on.
The human element, brother.
But even past that, man, I feel like even now I'm about to be 2 years into it and I still feel like I learn something new every day. And again, it's not always perfect, man, but I'm giving it and I'm giving it and I'm giving it. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help create a culture here where veterans don't feel like they're being bullied or dismissed and pushed to the side. Again, not always easy.
Right.
But that's the challenge that I chose. And I wake up every day ready to accept that challenge that I put myself in line for. Right. And I'm grateful for the opportunity, man. It took a lot of courage for anyone to accept somebody and put them in that role, considering how they've picked the previous VSOs and how those previous VSOs have been treated. And I'm going to leave that there.
Right.
After that, after the opportunity came, man, like I said, I'm trying to be forward thinking.
Sure.
We're really pushing mental wellness and mental health. We're pushing suicide prevention. You know, we had a group of veterans from a bunch of different organizations across the city go out in the middle of that first snowstorm before the 41-incher.
The 18-incher one, yeah, right.
And during the 18-incher, we drove all the way out to Buzzards Bay to go take some suicide prevention training from the lady who put together the DOD suicide prevention program, right? 8 of us went out there. We got up to par on their way that they're trying to do business. And we brought that knowledge back here to the city. You know, we put on the Veterans Resiliency Summit last Friday, not this past Friday, but the Friday before. And it's in its infantile stage. But I believe that is something that is going to grow legs and get bigger and bigger. We're offering that opportunity up to the first responders in this city, too, because they share a common thread that veterans share. And they're putting themselves in harm's way for the betterment of other people and to help and save other people. So I think that community, just as much as ours, needs to we need to make sure that we make those types of things available to them as well.
Right.
And not for nothing, but there are a lot of veterans in that first responder.
Well, like the Nikki Fontaines of the world out there, like that.
Oh,
right.
Man. Hold on. Nikki Fontaine, feet on the ground, in the muck.
Right.
Lived the life already first, got cleaned up, and is now giving back to the same community she used to be a part of, struggling with, doing the best that she can. She takes a lot of heat from some people here in the city, and I get it. Everybody don't understand. I get it. There are people out there that say, oh, we're dropping too much money into this, and why this and why that. I give all the credit in the world to Nikki Fontaine and that FAST team, because they're
Absolutely.
showing up and doing things that other people aren't showing up and doing, with a population that isn't always thinking about themselves and looking out for themselves.
Absolutely.
They're there during the darkest times in some of these people's lives, trying to help them come up.
But Taylor, you're talking about them. It's you, brother. It's all of you together. Together, this is what makes it work. You know, Nikki's successful, but her success is contingent upon people like you that are committed to the goal, to the common goal, brother.
I see it the other way around.
But I say it vice versa. Same thing. It works together. Like, you both inspire each other. I had her sitting in that chair, brother. I had the opportunity to sit down with her, and I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't think anybody's touched me the way she did up until sitting down here with you, brother. Like, your journeys are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that everything that you've gone through in your life has set you perfectly for this right now. You are here to serve. You are here. This is your purpose, brother. You have found it. You know, you talk about me. They wanted you to be a musician, brother. Brother, you're writing symphonies, my man. You're writing symphonies, brother. And people like you, people like Nikki, that are selfless, that wake up every day, regardless of what time it is. You're gonna answer that phone, and you're gonna serve, brother. You're gonna serve, man.
Trying to, man. I give all the credit in the world to Nikki Fontaine and that FAST team. I give the credit to whoever's idea it was to put the FAST team together. I give credit to whoever it is that's out there making the decision to continue to fund the FAST team. Amen. Because it's people like that and the healthcare workers here in the city at our newly named Brown Healthcare or whatever, right? We got people over there that are involved in that battle, because that's what it is. It's not a fight; it's a battle.
Sure.
To help our less fortunate people here in the city that have these problems with substance abuse and mental illness. And I think we need more support, period. We need more support, flat out. And that doesn't mean that support has to come from the city, because the city is already doing what the city can do. Right. And what a lot of people don't understand is that there are more things being offered than a little bit to this community that needs this help, but not everybody is in a place or position to be able to mentally accept that help.
That's it, right? You just get it. The mental health, brother. A lot of people don't have the mental capacity to understand
That's right.
their situation. They just don't know.
That's right.
And I think if most people would just accept that, they would realize, because you know what? Most people are like, well, go get a job. Stop being homeless. Go get right. But they don't understand the consequences, why they're in that situation, what brought them there. You know, not everybody is fortunate to be blessed with an angel through their lives, man. Like, I think, you know, I was blessed with angels throughout my life. Right? Like, I've been blessed, and I don't know that I would be here, Talos, if I wasn't. Yeah. Same for you, brother. Somebody
definitely been looking out for me. I was supposed to have been dead a couple of times.
Right. And so these people, they might not have had that opportunity. They might have, you know, their angels might have passed before they had an opportunity. So, you know, I think, again, I think it's something that, it's not just willy-nilly. We don't just go out there and throw money everywhere, but I think strategically and understanding, you know, the mental health crisis that we have. There's obviously a substance abuse crisis that we have. But I think people like you that are identifying this, you know, when I say to myself, every person we save is the next hero, brother.
And it's a real possibility.
Right?
Because every single person that's gone through that struggle that comes out on the other side, they now can lend their stories when they look back or they reach back to help pull that next person along with them. They can lend their story to help inspire or help add a little bit of juice to whatever somebody else might be going through, right? And so that's the kind of thread we need to be using around here in the city.
Absolutely.
That's one of those things I think that transcends just the group of folks that are unfortunate here in the city. I think it transcends that massively.
Absolutely.
I think that can be one of those things that we can put in multiple areas when we talk about how the city of Fall River operates, how the 7 Bristol district operates itself, right? Fall River is one of the poorest cities in the state of Massachusetts, and Bristol County, which was one of the poorest counties in the state. Not for nothing, man. It's not for nothing. It's because there are things that have been happening over the years that are just like contradicting, what's the word I'm really looking for? They're contraindicated for a successful city sometimes, right?
Hypocrisy, would you say?
There's some of that. There's definitely some of that. And this is not me pointing this in the direction of the city. I want you to hear me clear. I think there are just things from a legislative standpoint that have happened over the years that make it more difficult than it needs to be for the people that make this place home, that call it home, one generation or multiple. It does not matter. But that type of thread that we're using has to be the kind of thread that's going to strengthen us and not the kind that's going to divide us and not the kind that's going to make us less useful to our next door neighbor. And that is one of the things we got to get back to doing. We got to get back to looking out for the people next door to us. We got to get back to doing the things that look out for the person across the street. We got to get back to doing the things that allow the grandmothers to feel comfortable going outside and sweeping their sidewalks and their street curbs again, right? That is what we need. We need the type of leadership that is not just showing up with a pack of socks, right? I need you to show up with ideas, be forward thinking, think about how we can bring more business and economic development to South Main Street to help bring this place to being what it should be. This city has so much to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I would not call it home if it didn't.
Right.
But at the same time, we have, like I said, we got to do things that make it easy for the rest of the state, the rest of the South Coast to understand Fall River's got a lot more to offer than what we've been
Absolutely.
shown.
Well, especially the south end of the city. So
yeah.
we're talking about the 7th District, and that encompasses the south end of the city.
Yes.
At one point, and I will say this comfortably, the south end of the city was the heart pumping the blood through the entire city. It was the parades. It was the Christmas. I remember Christmas, and I remember the theater. I remember the South Main place. I remember people walking with bags, one hand full of bags and the other with children, and up and down
that street.
It was something very proud.
Oh, man. So getting back here, over the years, coming in and out of the city, I started to see, I think the Flint first is where I started to see where things were just kind of headed downhill, right? It just kind of got... In my own words, from my personal experience, it just started to look like nobody gave a damn.
Well
and
said.
again, I'm not throwing shots at anybody. I'm just telling you my observation. My observation told me that it didn't seem like the heart was there for that part of the city anymore at that time, right? And that just got worse and worse and worse.
Which is a proud community. The Flint, if you don't know, anybody who's listening who doesn't live here, the Flint is a very proud community. Very proud.
And have a reason to be proud.
Absolutely.
The history of that place gives them a reason to be proud. That used to be the walk and shop at district of the city. Just saying.
Yep. And
Again,
now
we'll let you decide if I know what I'm talking about or not, but that used to be the walk and shop at district of the city.
Absolutely.
Right? And
full of culture. Full of culture.
Now, what I feel like I'm seeing and have been seeing for several years is that same type of complacency has started and has been actually not started. It took a while, but that same complacency exists for our South Main Street area going back towards the Tiverton line. I think there's been a lack of understanding that there have been some business owners here that have cut their teeth through good times and bad and kept their doors open, but we've lost more than we've gained.
Absolutely.
And that in and of itself, we should be doing everything we can to make it easier for businesses to open their doors in our shuttered businesses along our main thoroughfares around the city for a multitude of reasons. One, we're going through a massive change on the other side of the city. It's going to change what the city of Fall River looks like. When you come across that Bracket Bridge in 5 years from now, the city ain't going to look the same on that side.
Right. You can go right or you can go left.
Right. And what I want to do as the next state representative for the 7th Bristol District, what I want to do is I want to make it easy for people to go to the right too, not just see what's on the left. On the right-hand side of the city, we got to get to a point where we've got just as much to offer as the left side.
Absolutely.
I want to see restaurants and businesses and different organizations. I want to see a venue. I want to see things that are going to draw our families out of their homes, get the kids off the screens, and give a family an opportunity to go out and celebrate having a family right here in the city of Fall River.
Absolutely.
Can I say?
Sure.
Do you mind if I say something?
Okay.
So like
we don't let him talk, so we'll let him.
I agree with what you're saying. Like kind of getting the right side of the city all under control. They actually kind of started doing that. I'm gonna tell you like an experience that I had myself. I actually went on one of those taxi boats.
Okay. Yes.
Yep. And they take you to like the little restaurants. You could buy drinks from there and drink on the boat.
Yep.
While you're at it. So I think
that's a good upgrade.
I think that's a cool little experience. The boat's a little tacky. Don't get me wrong.
But if it's a start of something, right? Like if it's like, hey, let's test this. Let's see if this
but,
works.
But I think it's a good thing. It costs only $2 to get on the boat,
which is crazy, right?
It's
a $2
awesome.
ride. That's
It's
awesome.
Right. To restaurants, and you can order your drinks.
Absolutely.
You can order your drinks. They wait for you, and then you come back on.
Sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But you can make
Awesome.
this, like, again, you could
We've
start your
got
day.
to expand that type
Absolutely.
of thing, though,
Imagine
right?
starting your day in 79 and working your way across the city all the way up South Main Street.
Come on, man.
Right? Spending the whole day. Imagine that.
That'd be awesome.
Right?
Right? Our sister city, quintessentially, our sister city has been a rival for many years, but now I think we should be past that as them being a rival. At this point, we've got to get to a position where we're offering just as much as them. No, we're not
Absolutely.
the exact same. We're our own thing.
Sure.
But don't be misled. We have just as much to offer, but we've also got to pour into it more in order for us to be able to
Yes.
hold our head just as high,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Art is at the center of everything you see when you walk down the streets of New Bedford. That needs to happen here in Fall River. It
Absolutely.
needs to be at the center of every single new business, every single new building, every single new housing project or whatever it is they're putting up. Art needs to be centralized in that. And we have those artists right here in our city.
Yeah, we do.
Don't be misled, people. We have the artists right here in our city.
Yeah, but you could make a list. We could sit here for like 5 minutes and make a list of
I
30.
promise you,
Yes,
we could.
absolutely.
Very much
absolutely.
so, right?
Absolutely.
And what's interesting to me is that the artists here are just as thirsty for the opportunity to show what they can do
Sure.
as the people are in this city for change. I've talked to hundreds of people across this city, not just in the 7 Bristol District, but across the city.
Mhm.
And there's an echoing theme that I continue to hear, and that is change, opportunity, and we can. We can do something different.
Mhm.
We are ready for opportunities, and we are ready for change. Biggest caveat to all of that, we have to get out and vote.
100%.
Period.
That's the drum I've been beating here since the beginning. You know, it's
Abysmal turnout in our last
Yes.
election.
yes.
Again, not speaking to any one thing or the other,
Nope.
just speaking to the numbers and the truth. Abysmal turnout.
Absolutely.
Somewhere along our path here in the city, we became apathetic. We started to ignore the trash that we see right in front of us. We started to ignore the opportunity to help the next human being right next door to us. We started acting like ourselves and only ourselves is what mattered. One thing is for certain. You can get anywhere you want to in life with your own plan, with your own juice, with your own energy. But boy, what can you do when you work together with somebody else or with a group of somebody else's?
Well said.
Man,
Absolutely.
it could be powerful
Yeah,
if you work
yeah.
together.
Yes.
It could be powerful when you not only work together, but you work together and move in the same direction.
Yes.
I think the people of the city are tired of the antics when it comes to our politics, not just here in Fall River, but across the country. I think people are tired of that.
Absolutely.
I think people are tired of all of the dehumanization of the other side one way or the other. We've got to get back to a position and a place where we're respecting each other as human beings first. We take the time to see ourselves in another person's shoes. That'll wake a lot of people up if
Absolutely.
they slow down long enough to do that. You know, one of the things that I've tried my best to do when I took over as the Director of Veteran Services is to continue to honor the traditions that have gone on here in the past. And not all of them are the same as they used to be, but we're doing the best that we can to continue to honor those traditions. We've got amazing things here, man. I brought a guy from Falmouth here, a veteran, brought him here from Falmouth, and I walked him into the Veterans Memorial Bicentennial Park. And his mouth just got stuck wide open as he came around the corner and started to take in the Vietnam Memorial replica wall and the Iwo Jima Memorial Monument at the same time. His mouth was wide open. And we stopped when I noticed it. I said, don't move. That picture you have right now, this is what we have to offer in just this part of the city. Just this part of the city, we have this to offer. And there's people that don't even know that park is existing.
They don't even know it's
down
there. They don't even know.
So what I've done is I've reached across to as many people as I can, and I offer to the different VSOs across the state, bring your people here. Bring them right here to this park. Because some of your vets, they know the names of some of the people on this wall here. Some of your vets, their grandfather or their father served during the time this monument was minted. Give them an opportunity to appreciate something that we have right here in this city, and then we hop over to Battleship Cove, right? And they're taking that in. We have so much to give, man. We have so much to give, but at the same time, we also got to pour into it more ourselves.
Absolutely.
We got to be good stewards of the things we have, but we also got to have forward thinking and be able to say, you know what, going into the future, because you have to think forward. You got to think about the future. If we continue to do the things that we were doing in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, we'll never move forward. We got to be forward thinking. Be able to say, you know what, in this many years, we want to be able to present this type of a face to the South Coast and make us the beacon that we're supposed to be on the South Coast. It's not just New Bedford here. Fall River is here.
Right. So critical. And I'm making this point because now is the time. So
I agree.
We realized that the previous administration, 13 years, and I only mention that because what you see is the result. Like, and again, I'm not calling anybody out. I don't pick sides, but I'm just, what I say
I've
is,
picked a side, which is why I'm running.
What you mentioned, this is my experience.
Yep.
Right? This is my experience. What I knew, what was a city that thrived with culture, with immigrants, with the idea that you could actually come here and you could actually build a future for your family.
Oh, that should never be in question.
Is that place today? Is this the place today?
Right about now, right? We're at a critical point. The current administration in Beacon Hill, with the supermajority, have put so many pieces of legislature in place that allow the utility companies to rape and pillage our bills in our pocket. And then they have the audacity to offer up half-ass solutions, right? What good does a layaway program, because that's how I view it, what good does a program that allows me to put part of my bill away for later on in the year and allow me to pay a small portion now so I can keep my utilities on?
Plus interest.
Then, that's what I'm about to get to, right? But then you allow that same utility company to charge me interest on the part that's pushed aside. Show me how that is relief. Because at the end of the day, I got too many fees on my bills, every single one of them, light, gas, and water. I got too many fees on my bill.
Yep.
Why did we even allow the legislature to put these things in place for these companies to be able to eat like this in the first place?
They took notes from the banks because the banks did that at COVID. They did it with people's mortgages. People lost their homes because this variant. We're going to put it at the end of your loan, right?
Well,
yeah. And then
even some of those programs were not as successful as they should have been to truly help people.
True,
right? And so we have to be mindful of these things when we go to the ballot box, man. We got to be mindful of the fact that these folks take our vote for granted, that they think that we're ignorant. Right? Who puts a plan in place that allows the same company that's already raping me to put interest on a bill that's supposed to be a solution to the problem that they created?
Right.
We're smarter than that now. Right. I know we're smarter than that. But the question is, are we going to show them that we're smarter than that? I think it's so important that people understand we need parity in government. And when I say that, what I mean is when you have a supermajority or a group of one party in charge, they do whatever they want.
I was just about to say that. Do you find that this is like a David and Goliath situation, like a David and Goliath?
I mean, I think a part of that has to do with the way leadership is structured on Beacon Hill also. But yeah, it is a bit of the David and Goliath kind of setup. But at the same time, the people in Fall River have an opportunity to change that massively.
Right.
Across the bridge, they elected somebody different for the first time in a long time. We got the same opportunity to do that here in Fall River as well. You know, Rep Sylvia is I was just
about to mention
Rep Sylvia is a nice guy.
Yeah.
He is. He's a nice guy.
Yes. Most will say that. Most people will say that.
I am not a nice guy. I'm a kind person. I'm a good guy. Nice guys shake their head and they go along with the status quo. I am not that dude. I'm never going to be that guy because if I'm here and I'm supposed to be representing you and I've got to vote against something that is going to be detrimental to my district, I'm going to do it. Period. Because my district comes first.
Right.
Again, on the other side right now, if you vote against the people that are in charge and you vote outside of party lines, they punish you. Rep. Sylvia referenced it in an interview already, so it's not like I'm speaking
Right, yeah, that was recent. Too.
mistruths.
That was recent, yes.
I'm not speaking a mistruth here. He said it himself.
He did.
Right?
He did.
And he also referenced money that was lost as well because he voted outside of party lines.
Right, and he's on the Ways and Means too, so there's a lot there. There's a lot.
Yes. At the end of the day, give me the opportunity to be your state representative, and what I'll show you is that I'm going to vote the district first every single time, because the party that I belong to in this state doesn't punish you for voting your district first. That's why I'm where I'm at. That's why I'm in the seat I'm in, because it is more important to me to stand up and vote for what matters to the district first than it is to any allegiance to any party, period. They know what they signed up for when I decided to run.
Mm-hmm.
I was very clear. I am me. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to represent my district before I represent anything else. I think the people of Fall River need that more than ever. They need somebody that's willing to stand in the paint, irregardless, and vote the district first. Flat out.
I agree with you 100%. And, but people will say that. But the question is, will they actually do it?
Well, I mean, the time is now.
The time.
There's
yes.
no better time.
So my question is this:
than
Talos,
now.
Is it bad enough? Right. That's the question you have to ask yourself when you're going to vote. Ask: Is it bad enough? Is it bad enough?
You tell me,
brother.
People getting $2,000 gas bills, electric bills through the roof.
And it's even bigger than that.
I think it's bad enough.
Yeah, and it's even bigger than that. There are things that are happening that people aren't even aware of.
Oh, definitely.
That if we don't put a stop to this now,
it'll get worse.
It
will
become unstoppable. It will become, at some point you can't stop it anymore. And I want people to really realize the importance of this.
Right.
Like, this is probably the most important. Between yourself running, obviously we've got other campaigns happening.
Yep.
And, Seth, you know what I mean? The DA.
Oh, yeah.
Like, these are all important pieces that I see.
I want to speak on that a bit.
Sure, of course.
Right. I had the opportunity to work underneath Seth Aiken when he was our city administrator. And one of the things I want people to understand is working at City Hall is a choice. And some of the residents that live in this city work at City Hall because they love this city. And the proof should be in their paychecks. The proof of that is that they stay there and they continue to work. They ain't bailed and go to another town or city. Some of these people have 20 plus years of working in City Hall because they love the city, not because of what they're getting paid. Right. So let me say that. I want to be very clear. I work with some of the best people, man. They mean well. They come to work every day and they work hard for this city. And then sometimes they get a bad rap. They do. Sometimes they get a bad rap. But some of these folks are here and they're doing the very best that they can with what they have. And I applaud them for it. I enjoy working with the people I work with. I enjoy it, man. From department to department, it's some awesome people there. And Seth was another one of those awesome people. He doesn't live in Fall River. He lives just across the bridge, but I enjoyed working with him. But I'm more excited for his next step in life past being the city administrator here, because he's looking to bring accountability to the DA's office in a way that is going to be impactful for the people that live in this city. We saw Mayor Flanagan get stabbed in the neck and face. And we saw the guy up until now, recently, right, kind of float along afterwards. Like, it was just no big deal.
Yep, no big deal.
Right. And one of the other things that's really, really near and dear to me as a father is that our children should be protected as well. He's going to be, if given the opportunity, he's going to be able to bring accountability that helps make the streets of the city safer outside of what our police are doing. Right. It's more than just what's happening on the street level. It's what's happening in the courtrooms. Those kinds of things matter. Actually handing out sentences to people that are convicted for committing violent crimes in this city, that kind of thing matters. There has to be a level of accountability there so that we can feel comfortable walking the streets of the city that we call home, walking the streets and going shopping and spending our dollars in the restaurants and things that are here currently,
Yes.
we have to feel safe doing those things.
Right.
Our police need the right number of people. They need the most updated equipment because, again, this isn't 1970 and it's not
Right.
1980. Things
Right.
evolve and change.
Right.
And they need to be up to speed so that they can handle business accordingly so that we can walk these streets and live in this city as safe as possible.
Why would I bother? If I'm a cop, why would I bother? If I'm going to arrest this guy, they're going to put him, and then he's going to go, and then they're going to let him walk out on the street. So I'm saying this is that mentality, and I know I had Seth sitting in that chair, man, and it was such a pleasure to talk to him and feel his energy, and it's clear that his mission is just. Bro, he looks great too, by the way, doesn't he?
He's shining.
His campaign,
he's glowing right now. To be honest
like
with you,
that campaign is amazing. He's doing an amazing job.
I think he's glowing. I think he's found a spot in life with him running for DA here in Bristol County that allows him to uniquely be himself, just like the people of the city. He's found something that is giving him a smile and is giving him more juice, more energy, because he knows if he wins, he's going to do the very thing that he said he's going to do.
Absolutely.
Right? And so for him, I'm excited for him because of that, but I'm excited for the city because of it. Because if we can get more accountability here,
that's the change we want, right? That's the change we so desperately need,
right?
You know, and
let's start actually locking these people up.
Absolutely, brother. You know, and I want to bring something up real quick, and this is kind of off, but it's an opinion.
Go for it.
And this is like what I term as the bottom feeders, right? And so I say this often, and it's not a derogatory term, but it's just it refers to the people in the city that their finances are absolutely contingent upon who the mayor is. Like just we'll say that example, right? And so if Paul Coogan is the mayor, my job is under Paul Coogan. Like I'm going to vote for Paul Coogan because I don't want to lose my job because the next guy might not give me my job back. The next guy might not give me my contract. The next guy might not let me operate. And so when you look at, you brought up the voting. When you look at those numbers,
the turnout. I'm concerned about the turnout.
Absolutely,
because with the turnout completely determines what happens next.
Absolutely.
All I'm asking for is an opportunity to give people an option, right? Because we've seen what no option looks like already. We've seen what that looks like. Okay? I'm asking for people to do one thing and then do another thing. I'm asking you to get on the ballot, and then I'm asking you to actually, irregardless of what you got going on that day, dictate your own weather.
Please.
Dictate your own weather the day it's time to go vote. Dictate your own weather. I don't care if the guy in front of you won't move when you're in your car while you're trying to get there and he's pissing you off. Dictate your own weather and get there.
I love that.
I don't care if you pull up to Dunkin' and you ask for an extra and they made it regular and your coffee's off a little bit. Take that sip, take another one and go, you know what? It's not as bad as it could be. And dictate your own weather and get there and vote anyway.
I love that.
One of the things that helped me get to a position, man, where I have more positivity in my life
you should write a book.
than negativity is I took the advice of one of my commanders. You know, I was struggling with something, man, and one of my commanders told me, he said, you know what? As decorated as you are, as up to speed as you are on so many things, I want to put this on you. He said, I want you to understand that you control your own weather. You control your own weather, not the person next door to you, not the person that decided to try and piss you off, not the person that's trying to bring you down, not the person that's plotting on you behind your back. You control your own weather. And I took that with me and I took it forward and I've held on to it vehemently. I vehemently try to live in controlling my own weather because that's something nobody else can do if I don't allow them to.
What a superpower, bro. That's your superpower.
If I don't allow somebody else to dictate my weather and I'm in control of my weather, it's everything. And we can apply that in so many different areas of our life. We can apply it in so many areas of our life. We need to be teaching our kids this very same thing. That is something that is so important to me, man, is this. The youth in this city, including my own kids, because that's the perspective I look at it from, right? Part of the reason why I'm running to be your next state representative is because I want to leave something that I feel comfortable leaving for my children when it's their turn to step into the light, step into different positions around the city, take a job, teach, whatever it may be. Whatever life brings them and they want to do, I want to be able to do it. But in order for them to be able to do it, as a parent and as somebody of substance, I want to leave them something worth holding on to, worth picking up.
Absolutely. Set the example, right?
That's what I see. That's what I want. That's why I need this opportunity.
I appreciate that so much because that's why I do this, brother.
Look here,
This
man.
is why I do this, man.
And I can tell you enjoy it,
Love it.
But that's why I'm running for office, man. I want to be able to leave something that I'm comfortable with leaving for my kids and everybody else's kids. Because when you look around, there's not as many things out there for our kids as there used to be. So I feel like they're being held hostage by their phones and pads and their video games. And I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be the old guy.
Yeah, right.
Right? Because, I'm a Gen Xer, right? We're latchkey kids. We kind of hung out outside all day, every day, and we did our own thing. We drank from the water hose, but we brought our ass home before the street lights came on, because if not, you got it tore out the frame,
whooped.
right? You got tore out the frame because you knew better.
Absolutely.
Our parents were teaching us accountability when they said be home by the street lights come on, by the time the street lights come on. And if you didn't, you learned your lesson, and I guarantee you the next time around, your ass was home before the street lights came on.
Absolutely.
But we come from a slightly different generation. The technology and the digital presence and the online thing was there later in our lives. We didn't grow up in it. Video games was just starting to be a thing, right?
Yep.
There was an Atari and then the Nintendo, and before that was a Sega and all these different things.
Yep.
But it wasn't the entirety of our existence.
Right, because it was too expensive. You were lucky if you had one.
Man,
You know
if
what
you
I mean?
had one of those things, boy, y'all had a little bit of money.
Absolutely. Or you went to your friend's house who did. Right?
Right. And so I want that for our kids, though. I want the ability for them to be able to put down their electronics and get involved in something. Not all day, every day, but I want them to at least have the opportunity to do so. We got to get our kids back in the CYO programs.
Yes.
We got to get them in the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCAs. We got to get them involved
Bernardo
with the sports.
boxing. Go there. Box,
MMA,
yes.
Basketball and football.
Yes.
All these different things exist out there.
Yes.
The Boys and Girls Scouts. Just the Eagle Scouts are out there. There's these things
We
that
are
are
a city
here.
of athletes. That's what we are, man.
And let's not forget now, Portugal. I'm sorry, forgive me, my Portuguese community.
Yeah.
But we also have a soccer scene.
Yes.
We have things for our kids to get involved in.
Absolutely.
But on top of that, we've got to pour more. We've got to pour more of ourselves into these things so that we have more available to our children.
Absolutely.
And that includes from 8 to 18. I don't care. We got to make more things available. I think we need some youth leadership programs.
Agreed.
Right? Speaking of youth leadership programs, I want to give a huge shout out to Kim Broder and the Youth Marines. They are very close to me.
Yeah.
In a different kind of way, right? Because they're not the typical thing. They take you from 8 to 18, but they're not the typical thing. They're teaching kids accountability. They're teaching kids attention to detail.
They're preparing them.
They're teaching kids physical fitness, right? It's unique. They could use more kids. They could use more volunteers, veterans out there who hear me. Marines that are out here.
How do they get involved?
Me.
How do they get involved?
Reach out to the Youth Marine Program. Go on Facebook and look up the Fall River Youth Marines. Get in contact with Kim Broder. Become a volunteer. You have to get screened, though. If you've been doing some funny shit out there during your adult life messing with children, don't even think about it. I'll come get you myself.
Well, I got a wood chipper. We just dropped in. Yeah.
But get involved, man.
Absolutely.
Let's expand that programming and expose our kids to something different that's not the same old thing. I got to see them 2 weekends ago, man, and I gave them a quick word of motivation because it takes a parent and a kid together to come together and make that decision to be a part of Youth Marines, because your child is going to get involved with doing something that's not the most popular thing on the planet.
Right.
It's just not. It's not the coolest thing to be involved with. Right. But what you're exposing your child to is something they're going to remember for the entirety of their life. The young man right here spoke to me about being involved in ROTC. I don't know how many years removed he is from Bedford High School, but he talks about it now.
Yes.
Because that type of experience stays with you the entirety of your life. These are the types of things we need to be worried about getting our children involved with. Absolutely. Instead of just
building our next leaders, brother.
I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
Other than making sure that we take time to slow down and continue to pour into the youth, man, because the youth is next.
Brother, they're nothing more important. There is nothing on this planet more important than
they're next.
Right.
So if we're not doing things that are looking forward into the future to look out for them, what are we doing?
Right.
And we have to do it when it's uncomfortable for us.
Absolutely.
When it butts up against a schedule, oh well. So what? It's difficult. Oh well. sit in the car outside of the CYA and wait for them.
Whatever it takes.
Or CD Rec, where I said that wrong. Sit in the car and wait for them. Get them involved in some of CD Rec's programs. Right? Take advantage of some of the youth mentorship things that are out there.
Yes. I tell you, and I mentioned it again, Bonato Boxing. I've been working with Aaron Bonato.
Yeah.
I'm currently sponsoring. I'd love to give you a couple of tickets. We have a boxing event coming up on the 28th.
Yeah.
And I've been sponsoring that. He's got about 80 children in that building every single.
That's beautiful.
Talos, I would love. Can we go there together? Can we do a field trip?
I'm down.
I would love to show you the gym, and I want you to see what's happening in that building. Nobody knows. This is in the old CYO building. He bought the building. It is now the Bonato Event Center, and he's doing the whole like boxing.
I'm down, man.
I believe every Thursday he does a female boxing event. It's all females. I've sponsored that a couple of times, and if you're a resident, it's like $5. I mean, we're talking cheap money for everybody to get involved.
Yeah.
But I would love to show you the amazing things that he's doing. That man has invested everything in the youth.
And what kills me, man, is that folks like that get overlooked, right? They get overlooked, and it takes a lot, man, to pour into youth. It takes a lot to give up your time to lead children and run youth programs. But to the people across the city of Fall River that are out there doing it, man, I'm so appreciative of you, because if you don't do it, they're going to end up in a gang, or they're going to end up in their handling things the wrong way. They're going to end up succumbing to devices they never should succumb to. People don't wake up in their youth saying, "Oh, I want to be strung out on the street." People don't wake up in their youth saying, "Oh, I want to be homeless." That's not how any of that goes. You didn't say it when you were a child.
Right.
That's not what you envisioned for yourself when you were coming up as a youth. You envisioned doing something of merit and being of purpose.
Yes.
Every single one of us
Absolutely.
did. I want to be an astronaut, a pilot, a doctor, a nurse, a firefighter. You wanted to be something of merit and of use. Our kids feel the same way. We just have to give them the opportunity. And please understand, they have it 10 times harder than we did.
Absolutely.
Their world is digital. It's completely different. It's electronic. They can be bullied online. We didn't experience that. If you had some junk to talk about somebody back in the day, you talked it in person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you didn't and you talked it behind their back and it got back to them, they came to see you.
Absolutely.
Our kids don't have that. They're not afforded that opportunity. So it makes it very difficult to be a child in these days. If people aren't paying attention and they don't understand it, I'm explaining it to you right now. Right? Because our kids are struggling with something different than we ever had to think about dealing with. So that's why these programs and the people that run these programs and the funding for these programs is so important. Right? Anyway, I got on my soapbox there.
No.
These are the things that are important to me.
Absolutely,
these are the things that I would like to see not only flourish, but thrive in our city. You know, we've got a Saturday kitchen. I'm going to misstate the name, but there's a older couple that runs a Saturday kitchen, man, and they've been doing this thing for 40 years. The city council just recognized them, and they weren't even aware that they were being recognized, first of all, right? But I went there last weekend, and I got the opportunity, man, to walk in there and see what they're doing, and they're feeding people off the street. Veterans go in there. Residents are going in there. The man is 90 years old, right? And him and his lady have been putting this on for 40 years. He wants to do something big for the kids for Easter. They lost a little bit of the support they were receiving. They're not getting grants from nobody. They're not on anybody's list of they're not. They've just been a mom and pop shop, man, and they've been doing it with the help of some nurses from Charlton and a couple of the hospitals from back in the day, and everybody's there giving what they have. And they're feeding people right off the street. And they're just doing it just because. Right? But it's going to come a point in time where that might go away, and we need to get involved. We need to get involved and help the programs that we do have left, the people that are still out there fighting for the good side of things, that are still out there trying to give back what they can. We need to be supporting those types of things because, again, we're one of the poorest cities and one of the poorest counties in this state. So if we let those things die and wither away, it's not going to put us in a better position.
Right.
That I can promise you.
Right.
One of the other things I'm running on, supporting our firefighters, making sure they have the training, the personnel, the facilities, and the equipment to be able to save the lives of the people that live here in this city, period, point blank. We're about to put over 6,000 units of housing within a mile and a half of the 79 Duval strip over there, which means at some point we're going to have to be forward thinking and deal with the issue of fire and fire safety for that strip over there.
Yes.
What are we going to do about it?
Meanwhile,
what is the state going to do to help us keep the residents that are going to be taking that area and calling it home? What are we going to do from the state side of things to make it as safe as possible for them as well?
Absolutely.
Right? But then what are we doing for the firefighters that we have now?
Which is obviously, like, if people don't know.
Now, I'm not speaking from a city level. I'm talking from a state level.
Right.
What kind of funding are we going to be getting coming into this city to support the firefighters that we have now and the ones we're going to be needing in the future, the facilities that we're going to be needing in the future? What are we going to get?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but the last 13 years. Anyway, moving forward.
Yeah.
I would like to be in a position to fight for things that are going to make a difference here in this city.
Sure.
I want to be a part of doing things that matter. I want to be a part of doing things that bring attention to the needs of the people that are doing the best they can to keep us safe on our streets, keep the fire situations down to a minimum, and keep us safe.
But Talos,
EMS responders.
There's only one
much.
way that can happen.
It's true. It's true. And people have to get out and vote.
People have to get out and vote.
People have to get out and vote. If you're not registered to vote, you hear this podcast with me and Bobby sitting out here, let me tell you something. If you go to farris4rep.com, you can get registered to vote. You can get registered to vote. You can get registered to vote. If you don't use the internet,
it's free.
Walk down to City Hall, go to the 6th floor, go to the Office of Elections, and get registered to vote.
For free.
Get registered to vote. Get registered to vote.
Please.
What I'm asking is simple. Give yourselves the opportunity to actually enact change. I'm tired of hearing people say my vote doesn't matter when majority of people don't even turn out to express the opportunity that you have.
Yeah.
We have a unique opportunity to go out and actually vote to enact change.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes. And we've seen it. We've seen it. This last election, the mayoral race.
It was very tight.
It was so tight.
To me, I consider that a tight 100%.
Race. It was tight.
Right?
I
consider that a tight race.
The tight as it's been. And I think a part of that was, hey, guys, go vote. Go register to vote. Go. I mean, I was giving away gift cards to restaurants trying to just get, like, and I'm saying, I don't care who you vote for. I really don't. I just want you to show up.
Just go out and exercise the right that you have to enact change.
Yes. It's so important, man.
People from the other side sometimes, they go out of their way to murky the water and murky messages. I'm going to clarify some things. Yes, I'm running as a Republican. Yes, I am. I'm running as a Republican because we need parity on Beacon Hill at the state level. There's not enough check or balance to the situation
100%.
Up in Beacon Hill.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's why I'm running as a Republican. I'm running as a Republican for that reason. I'm running as a Republican because that is where I can go in and vote for things that are for my district first. That's where I can do that.
Well said, sir.
I can vote for my district first. I'm never going to be the guy or the person or the girl that complains about the outcome of me doing the right thing, as most of the people already know. But what I'm asking, very simply, get off the couch, spend the 20 minutes it takes to drive from your home down to City Hall or to your precinct, and exercise the right to actually help decide what happens next in the city of Fall River up on Beacon Hill.
For your
Go
children,
to my website.
Do it for your kids. Do it for the kids.
Go to my website. Check out the pillars of my campaign. These are the things that are the most and on the highest of my priorities, but there are so many other things, man. We've got a massive problem with child predators here in this city, in the state in general. I want to address that.
Do me a favor. Episode 103, I just recorded it. George Duo was sitting in the chair.
I saw that.
SVU
I haven't had a chance to watch
George
it yet.
George is amazing.
But I'm going to go watch
amazing,
it.
Amazing. And that's exactly.
I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah, that's.
I'm going to go watch it. That's important from a bunch of different perspectives. As a father, that is important to me. Very important to me. And I've had dealings with different people since I took up full-time residence here in the city. I'm not putting anybody's business out there. Just know I've had dealings. Period.
Yeah. So it's home. It's home.
Right. I've had dealings. I saw the young lady that has been outside of the Justice Center fighting for the opportunity to have somebody punished for things that was done to her.
Jessica, right? Jessica.
And
I think so.
It's.
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't want to misspeak.
Yeah, I don't want to
misspeak,
right,
but I'm just going to speak to what I've seen,
please.
right? And it's important that we do the best that we can to protect our children, and that should be a no-brainer, right? And so that's why doing things like electing a new district attorney is important, so that people start to pay the price for the things that they've done that harm our children. Outside of that, we need economic development that's meaningful, that's not one-sided. We need it to be easier to open the doors to a business in this city, specifically in the 7 Bristol District. We need to be affording some type of mechanism that allows people to go out and exercise that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
We need some kind of mechanism that does that. We need deals in this city that actually benefit the city, period. Leaving that there.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. Yes.
It's not that certain people haven't tried. It's not that things haven't been done. It's just that we need more because we've been inactive, and now we need to be proactive instead of reactionary.
We see the consequences of the inaction. We see it. The complacency has brought us to where we are right now.
We need to be forward thinking.
Yes.
We need
Yes.
to be proactive. We need to be
Yes.
thinking about 2030, 2035, and not just stuck in 1985
Yes.
trying to do things in 2026.
Yes.
That's not how you get forward. That's not how you make things happen. That's not how you bring something productive that's going to carry us
Yes.
into the future in a way that's productive.
Some people would want us to believe that all of this is by accident. Like this, it just happens.
No.
Like a mayor being stabbed in the neck and families being shot in their homes. This is not normal. This should not be happening. And our inaction, this is the result of that. And so we need people that are steadfast and have headstrong missions to realize and say, this isn't working anymore.
Bobby, it was not easy to make the decision to throw my hat in the ring and go after a political office at all, because doing so puts you in the crosshairs of certain people. It puts you under the limelight in a way that can be uncomfortable to others. I've never really spoken on too many things one way or the other before coming on this show, except the things that were important in that moment. I made a promise to myself as a part of a leadership institute that I was selected to go to back in 2024 through the Student Veterans of America. I was selected as one of 2 students from the New England area, okay? And I went to Washington, D.C., and I took in the entirety of that experience with 68 other individuals, myself and the other guy from up in Boston, actually. So there were 70 of us in this Student Veterans of America Leadership Institute. And we had the opportunity to go to the White House and speak on some things with very, very high-level, important people that make decisions as well. And it was in that moment where I was standing in D.C. advocating for veterans here in New England, specifically here in the South Coast, that I realized this is what I need to be doing. It was in that moment during that Leadership Institute. And so there came a poignant moment during that Leadership Institute where we had a book in front of us, and part of the assignment in that moment was to map out a 3 to 5 year time span of things you wanted to accomplish and things you wanted to do. And out of nowhere, man, I relived that moment standing in the White House talking to some folks from the Veterans Administration and the Veterans Benefit Administration and listening to the apathy that existed there and going, the only way this changes is if you give yourself the opportunity to get involved. The same thing that made you say, put your resume in or put yourself up for VSO is the same thing that's screaming at you right now in this moment. Yep. Right. It's the same thing. I said a while back, myself and Chanel, we ain't even touched on that yet, but I said to myself, I'm no longer going to sit back and be that veteran that bitch moans and complains. I have to stand up and I have to get involved to be a part of the solution. Period. No matter what that looks like,
Yep.
this is what you have to do.
The time has come.
Right?
The time
and
has
so
come.
I'm sitting in this leadership institute. I've got this book in front of me, and it's got this plan in front of you that you need to fill out, right? And what it is supposed to be is supposed to be a silent promise and plan to yourself with yourself. And I wrote in there on one of those blocks across it, I wrote, put yourself in a position to be able to actually enact effective change, period, even if that means having to run for office.
Wow.
Right? That was in 2024. I saw some things between then and now that made me say, you know what? You got to do it. You see enough things that you feel like need to be changed. You've talked to enough people that want to see some of those same things changed. It's time to do it. Period.
Something happens when you find out. Like when you have knowledge of it, it changes. When you don't know, Talos, and I say this from my own experience, brother, what I didn't know, I didn't know. I was naive. And now knowing what I'm knowing, I feel like this is the force. Like I have to be involved. I don't have a choice. I've been chosen.
Yeah.
And I feel the same for you, brother.
It's very simple for me. I'm not a complicated individual, man. I'm a guy, first and foremost. So I'm not complicated, right? God, country, family, and vice versa. You can flip it around. You do it however you want to, but those are the things that are most important to me. But outside of that, as a man, you have a responsibility to do certain things in your life. And one of those should be looking out for your family, and the other one should be looking out for your neighbor. And if that means you got to step into a position where you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, then so do it. Otherwise, sit down, shut the hell up, and support the person that's willing to do it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion, brother.
You have to do one or the other.
Absolutely.
And if you know somebody that's willing to step into the line of fire and help support doing something that's going to benefit you and your family, get out there and
so
do
be
it.
it.
Get out there and do it. Go support that person. I'm not telling you to personally come support me. I'm telling you to go and support that person. That's what I'm telling you. Don't ignore what your eyes are showing you.
That's where it starts, brother.
Don't ignore what your eyes are showing you, but get out there and support something that you believe is going to effectively change the things you believe need to be changed. That's what I'm asking.
Be the action. Be
It's
the
funny
change.
you said that. Somebody offered this to me a few months ago before I pulled papers because I was going back and forth on whether or not this was the time to do it, right? And they said, you have to be the change you want to be or see, right? And I said to myself, after that, I said to myself, like, I don't think they understand what they just did, right? I've already been I'm already considering this thing. I'm already.
Yep.
And that's when, the culmination kind of happened. It was like, this conversation was had. I wrote in the book this thing to hold myself accountable to these things, to these tenements. And one of those tenements was put myself in a position to be able to actually make a real difference, even if that means running for office, right? And then that got said to me.
Talos, all roads
I just
lead.
I feel like I couldn't ignore the things that I was seeing, right? And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why the kids matter so much to me. That's why looking out for our police and our fire, the EMS and EMA matter so much to me, because at the end of the day, those are the fundamental things that are supporting the
Community,
city
brother.
and supporting our communities,
That's our community.
supporting our children. It's not easy to make the decision, man, to put yourself out front. It is not easy at all.
And people
because
don't know.
I'm
People
not
don't
that
know.
person.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
that person. I would much rather be the guy that's just making stuff happen. Just make stuff happen. But sometimes in order to be the guy that makes stuff happen, sometimes you got to stand out
This is what
front
it takes.
to make stuff happen.
Absolutely.
And understand, as far as I'm concerned, this election is not about me. It's not about Rep. Alan Sylvia. It's about the people that live in that district and giving them the opportunity to enact change. Period. That's what it's about for me. It's about giving people the opportunity to be able to feel like it's safe enough to go back outside and sweep their sidewalks and sweep their curves and clear out their driveways.
Any time of day.
It's feeling like it's okay to let your kid go to Kennedy Park and play basketball.
Yes.
It's all right to walk down Main Street, South Main, and go to any shop anywhere along that way. But also, it's all right to feel like I can open up the doors to a business right in the middle of downtown.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm looking at. Those are the things that matter to me. There are several more, right? I don't think veterans should pay for hunting and fishing licenses in the state of Massachusetts, period. Period.
I like that.
I don't think veterans should pay
That's
for
a small thing.
And it's a small thing.
Yes.
Very, very, very small thing.
Yes.
But I think it's important.
Yes.
Right?
It really is.
I think something like that matters more than most people probably realize. You know, I don't think that we should be penalized for making less than they do in Wellesley.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't be penalized for that. So what? We're a hardworking community. The policies and the rents and the things that go along with living in this community should reflect that.
Sure.
Period.
Sure.
We can offer up bigger, better things, but we also got to keep in mind that the people that are from Fall River help make Fall River. But at the same time, those of us that live here, we have to step up. We have to step up. We
you just can't lay down and die.
No.
You just, yes. You have
I
to.
get the whole will try thing. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. We'll try.
Yep.
But where I've been bred, and the things and the experiences that I've lived through, will try doesn't cut it for me, right? We're going to do.
Yeah.
We have to be actionable. Period. Give it until you can't give anymore. Fail, get up, try again. Fail, get up, try again.
If people don't know, that's what's on the police cars. Like that's actually our city logo.
Yes,
is we'll try.
We'll
it's
try.
not even. Yeah.
We'll try.
Yeah. It's
and
our
again,
motto.
I understand where it comes from wholeheartedly. Grave situation.
Then, now,
guess what?
We need something.
We'll try. It isn't enough.
No,
It's not enough.
Yes, we see the results.
And I'm not bad mouthing Fall River's motto. I'm not bad mouthing Fall River.
It's not about that.
What I'm saying is we have the opportunity to lift ourselves up by our own bootstraps, and we got to do it.
It's time for change, brother.
We have to do it.
It's time for change.
That's what I'm saying.
We cannot continue this way. And I'm going to say this is my own personal experience as a citizen and a resident of the city of Fall River.
Yes.
I grew up in the South End.
Yes.
This is just some context. The house, right? If you were to look out this window,
Yep.
my Vavo's house, that's where I grew up.
Right there.
The storefronts, my Vavo rented those out. Like we were literally embedded in the South End in the community. So I know exactly what it was and I know exactly what it could be.
Yeah.
But I think if we don't choose to make a difference, if we don't show up, if we don't vote, if we don't want better for our future, for our children, then fine. Then we'll continue. But if we decide that it's time for change, that, for example, I could see you over at the Brewhouse District, and we're all celebrating, man. We're in a great place in the city.
Yeah.
We're breaking bread. We're having some drinks.
Yeah.
We're singing. We're dancing. To me, those are the moments I'm saying to myself, this is what the city could be, right?
Wholeheartedly. Right? So I want to give all the props in the world to people like Nick and the owner of the Brew House now, also the owner of
Marco Andrade, Social Table
Tequila
Events, and making that
Marco
happen.
Andrade
Yes.
with the Social Table Events.
Yes.
They're trying to keep that thing going, right?
Yes.
They're trying to keep fire in a place where it feels like it's trying to be stamped out. That's what they're trying to do.
Yes.
And I'm giving them all the credit in the world for doing it. The owners of St. James and the people that own Morgan's Cantina and all these different little places. TAs have been here as a staple, right? Holding it down.
Yes, Rep.
Right?
Alves ran this place.
I mean, you got Mesa 21 over the other side of the city. We've got people buying places like Al Max, and we got all these little New York bakers.
Night Owl
is getting the opportunity to come back, right?
Yes.
We've got all these little things, but we need to pour more into
Talos,
it.
we need leadership.
We need to pour more into it. We got to start believing that stuff is possible. But on top of all of that, action has to happen.
100%.
Action has to happen. What I'm asking is get up, become actionable. Do not be fooled about these narratives of red and blue and all. Wipe that out of the way. What I'm asking you to do is look at the people that are trying to do things in a positive manner for this city that isn't the same old, and give them an opportunity.
But you should be running for mayor.
Make it happen.
You should be running for mayor.
I promise Chanel I wouldn't. I promise Chanel I would not.
Jeez.
I promise Chanel I wouldn't, and I did that for a couple of different reasons. We're not going to talk about that, but I promised her I wouldn't. Now,
Yeah.
let's shine the spotlight on
Yeah.
her just a little bit.
Yeah.
I know I talked about her helping take care of my dad and stuff while I was working 2 jobs overnight and all that good jazz and raising my beautiful kids, man.
Chanel Stewart.
Strong individual. In order to be married or connected to or attached to a veteran and raise a family in any way, shape, fashion, or form, be it perfect, imperfect, balanced, or imbalanced, that other side has to be a strong individual, and she is a very strong individual. Now we keep our waters separate.
Mm-hmm.
We keep our waters separate. She's on school committee. I don't want to know.
Yep.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't want none of that.
I don't
stay
want
away.
to know.
Hey, stay. I know you want that. You stay
I don't
away.
want to know. I want to know. And she respects that. And I respect her space with that.
Sure.
Right? Because she's going to have things that she has to deal with that have absolutely nothing to do with me at all, period, point blank. And I want to keep it that way.
Sure.
And that's the way we handle business because we're 2 real adults.
Absolutely.
We're 2 real adults. But we both got to a point in our lives where we say, this is home. These things matter. And in order for anything to change, we have to get involved. She would have run for school committee. What most people don't understand is she would have run for school committee years ago. COVID was a thing. We both decided in the best interest of our family that was not the time to do something like that.
Sure.
Chanel Stewart's been going to school committee meetings since my oldest daughter was in school in Fall River School Systems here. Not only was she a member of the staff in the Fall River School Systems, but my oldest daughter, who'll be 26 this year, she's been going to school committee meetings since my first kid was in school here. Nothing is off the table when it comes to understanding the dynamics of how the school committee has worked in this city. And for people to not understand that, you know, it's on them.
Yeah.
But she tried to make sure that she expressed that during her campaign, that she's got knowledge of this school committee and the school committees from years past and the dynamics from years past, not only just at that level, but even at the micro level inside of the different buildings around here that form our school system.
Yes.
People need to understand that.
Yes.
And one thing is for certain, when I say she's strong, she is very strong. And when you have a strong woman like that, guess what it means? That means they have a very strong mind and they can think for themselves.
100%.
Just like I think for myself,
Absolutely.
she thinks for herself. Neither one of us are those go with the flow kind of people just because this person said. One of the funniest things I think I heard so far with the shenanigans just starting to get going here with me running for office, Kevin Aguiar, man, get out of here. Let me explain something to you, right? I just explained to everybody how I came to the decision. Please don't be fooled. Please don't go down and go down in flames believing some of the mistruths and the lies that you're going to be told between now and November. Don't do it to yourself. And I promise you, if you come see me on any of the meet and greets I plan on doing throughout the city, my kickoff event, I will talk to you about anything. I'm not that person. I'm not running for office because this person said, man, jump out the window with that. Please jump out the window with that. That is not who I am. I'm running because of the things I've expressed in this interview that matter to me, and they matter to me for the reasons I've expressed that they matter to me. I'd be an idiot if I didn't go across the city and introduce myself to people that I know don't know me and not learn some of the people that I feel like need to be learned.
Absolutely.
How else do you end up in a position to have enough knowledge and enough ability to be able to enact real change if you don't go and don't interact with the people that have their finger on the pulse in different areas around the city?
It must be wild for you, right? Because I'm at, just real quick with this. This just came to me. So you're in a bipartisan position right now. Like everybody wants to talk to you because if I get to stand alongside you and I take a picture and I'm running a camp, it's really good for me to be with you, right? The director of
It's
very good.
I get it.
See,
I get what you're
where I'm
saying.
going with this?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's up until now, until you decide you're going to run, it's great to be hanging out with you. Then all of a sudden you decide, hey, I'm going to run. Now people are having criticisms. Now people are like, well, maybe it's not so cool to hang out, right? So my point is saying is I think people need to realize that and have focus on that to say who was supporting you prior to you saying, hey, I'm going to run, and now who's not supporting you anymore?
And
because that speaks volumes, brother. That speaks volumes.
I'm going to tell you like this, Bobby. None of that matters to me. If you were on the train before I decided to make this decision to run for office and you still on the train, I appreciate you. I'll honor whatever it is that we've built together individually. But if you were on the train and then you jumped off because of a party selection or anything like that, hey, no hard feelings, man. That's your decision to make. But it's not going to alter my decision to run for this office at all.
But it's eye-opening, right? You're kind of like...
It could be eye-opening, right? Man, but it's not life-changing. I can promise you
not
that.
at all. Not at all.
It's not life-changing, but just understand the way I handle business.
You are locked in, brother.
Jump off the train.
You are locked
jump
in.
off.
I love it. You are locked in.
Jump off.
I love it. I love it.
But when I win this election in November and get installed in January, understand I'm not here to hold a grudge. I'm here to work for every single person that lives and works and calls the 7 Bristol District their home, their business, whatever. I'm going to be here for that because that's the only thing that matters. The only thing people give a damn about. They don't care about the allegiances one way or the other. They shouldn't, because I can tell you right now, I got an allegiance to my family, to the things that I said I want to do in my life. That's where my allegiance lies, right? And then if I'm elected to office, my allegiance will then be severely tied to making sure that any and everything that I do is centered around what makes sense for the city of Fall River and the 7 Bristol District, period, point blank.
Amen, brother. I love it. I love it.
So
real quick, let's talk to the audience. Where are you going to be? If people want to come out, they want to sign, they want to meet you, they want to talk to you. I know you got some events that are coming up.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and start publishing a lot more. So I've made my calendar from now until I think August. My goodness. Just trying to make sure I plan out the opportunity to put myself in front of people that haven't had a chance to meet me, that haven't had a chance to express themselves on things that matter to them and things they want to see happening up on Beacon Hill. My campaign kickoff event / fundraiser, which because I'm a city employee, I can't ask for donations and things like that. So I have put a team of folks together, right? And I think it's a powerful team of people. There are people that aren't tied to any one group or another from years past in any one direction or the other. And some of them are people who have no clue who they are, and that was intentional. But I promise you, every single one of those people has a purpose. Every single one of those people has a specialty, and every single one of those people are good at what they do.
I love
and it's done for a reason. And none of them are listed anywhere, so there's no way for you to know who they are. And again, that was also intentional. I'm going to kick off my campaign event at St. John's Athletic Club on the 2nd of April. I'm going to be there from 6 to 9. You can come sign papers if you want, but if you just want to come hear the meat and potatoes or the nuts and bolts, however you want to look at it, of what I'm running on and what I believe outside of this interview, that'll be the place for you.
Okay.
Right? That'll be the place for you. We're going to have a little bit of food. I'm going to have some live music. We're going to bring some people in from outside the area and people from inside the area. One of the things I think that is the absolute most important thing that the city of Fall River does going forward into the future from a state representative point of view is to help get us on the map in a positive way. And that means reaching out outside of our little circle, right? Tie us to other areas of the state so that people understand what we have to offer here, period. There was a time when the Kennedys and Onassis used to come down here and visit, right? And people were enamored with that. We've lost that attraction.
Yes.
Right? So we have to gain that back.
Yep.
And that has nothing to do with a party line. That has to do with making sure that you put things in place that make people want to come here.
Fall River Celebrates America, man. That was huge.
I keep hearing that over and over again, right?
It was amazing.
But one of the most important parts of Fall River Celebrates America is we need a spot. We need a spot to be able to do that kind of a celebration.
Yep.
We do, period. Right? If that kind of opens itself up, then maybe that could be a thing.
I mean, back in the day, it was Battleship. Like you'd set it up all with a Battleship. Like you do the Heritage Park. Like literally, people would bust.
We'd have to see, Bobby.
Yeah.
We'd have to see.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that's going to go out here and just promise the world. I'm not promising anything other than what we need.
Yeah.
And when I know I can deliver on, what I'll tell you is I'll give you my best shot at this, and I'll give you my best shot at that, and I'm going to try hard as hell to do this. But I would love to see Fall River celebrate.
So cool, man. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I think truly, right, to make something like that happen, the very first thing that jumps out to me is we have to be able to keep everybody safe, right, when we do something like that, right? Because isn't that probably kind of the reason it went away? right?
That's
Safety, the later
police
into the
officer. I'll never forget. Rest in peace, Officer Megan. There was a situation. Officer Megan fell.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and that's kind of where that's where it ended.
We have to operate from a common sense standpoint, which people will start to understand. That's the side that I operate from on a lot of things. Is I come with a common sense approach to a lot of things.
I appreciate that.
If you want to do something as big as that and attract not only Fall River residents out of their homes and people from across the bridges and in different directions to come here and celebrate America in a festival of that sort, you have to be able to keep everybody safe.
It's our obligation.
First and foremost.
True. Yes.
First and foremost, people have to be safe. But we also have to have a spot to do something like that in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think if the city were able to, find a good combination of all of those things, I think it'd be more than possible to make something like that happen in the future. Again, the administration will have to sign on for it. We have an awesome events person.
Yep.
Yeah. Samantha Barbosa is amazing at what she does. Right. And for those of you that don't
is that
know
Viva
Sam,
Flora? Is that Viva Flora?
No. She works on the 6th floor.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's amazing at what she does. She's one of those people that's behind the scenes. She doesn't get a lot of spotlight for anything that she does, but she helps put on the different events at the parks throughout the summer, the different places, the food truck, this and that. She helps put a lot of that stuff together, and she's still here, and she's still fighting in the background, trying to make bigger things happen.
Shout out.
Just saying. When I tell you we've got some amazing people
we say,
down
bro, the
City
people that
Hall,
do the most
we've
say
got
the least.
We've got some amazing people down in City Hall. I promise you that.
Yeah.
I promise you got amazing
Well, we got to pull them up. We got to get them up front.
Well,
because the people that should be, the people like you that should be running.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Appreciate you, brother.
To be doing.
I appreciate
I didn't ask for permission. I was a gentleman about it. 100%. Just so that people know I was a gentleman about it. Appreciate everything that you've done for the state, for the city of Fall River, Rep. Sylvia. But I need you to understand I'm going to be challenging you for your seat. I want to give the people of Fall River the opportunity for an actual choice. Again, thank you for everything you've done. That's all I got to say.
It's time. Talos, thank you so much for coming in today, man.
Thank you for having me,
Look,
Bobby.
I want to tell you, you did not disappoint, my friend. You know what I mean? I know we've been talking about this on and off.
Right. People don't understand. I know Bobby outside of his show, and we talk from time to time. And I've been telling Bobby for quite a bit of time I wanted to come on the show, and it actually had nothing to do with me running for office in the beginning at all.
Right.
But that's just a development that happened along the way. Yeah. I think you're very powerful. I think you're maybe even underestimating what you got going on here. Wow. I think that you can put this on an even bigger platform. And again, you're one of those things that if we pour into it, be one of the shining stars here in Fall River. I can't
tell you what that means to hear that coming from you, brother.
You're in the right places. You're talking to the right people. You're going to people that other people want to hear from that watch your show, man. I think you should keep doing that. Keep doing that. Don't slow down. Don't shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. I'm not going to do it. Don't you do it.
I won't do it.
All right.
All right, you fight, I fight.
Let's
Deal?
Deal? Done.
I appreciate you, Talos. Thank you so much for being here, man. Whatever we can do to support you, please. And I share all your stuff brother. Anyway. And
April 2nd. If you want to come and set up on April 2nd.
I'll be there. 100%. I'll be there.
If you want to come set up on April 2nd, man, and take it in.
Yep.
I'm gonna speak there.
Yep.
And I think what I have to say there on the 2nd of April is gonna hit home in many different ways. And I want as many people to know about what I have to say on that day as possible.
Let's do it. First of all and foremost, thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice, brother. Man. Everything you've done.
I enjoyed my time.
And
good, bad, or indifferent, man. I enjoyed my time in the military. Helped me shape who I am as a person today and helped drive me.
All roads lead here, brother. It's the journey, my man.
Yes, indeed.
It's the journey.
Yes, indeed.
And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And the audience, I want to say thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. This was really a really deep episode. And I just I feel like I'm walking away from this conversation a little different. I want to say that.
I hope so, man.
I really am. And
I want to help uplift people, man.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I'm been charged with along my journey, man, is to help uplift people and let folks know, man, it doesn't matter how dark things get, doesn't matter how difficult it gets, doesn't matter who believes in you, who doesn't believe in you. All you need to do is believe in yourself and dictate your own weather.
Yes. Love that.
Let's do it.
Bro, and with that, we go out. All roads lead here.